You are looking live.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
Very jealous of your steak, Tim. I haven't had a steak in a long time.
Is it good? Thanks, EB.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Monday. Boy, it's been a while. I'm out of practice. If I screw up a couple times, just bear with me. And that's just to the audience, not the co-host. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. And this is one of those where, don't worry, I actually feel better than I sound. Got to trust me on that. Although there are times in which I've actually felt worse than I've sounded over these last couple of weeks. Miller and Moulton, Miller&Moulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. It's great to be back. Mark, thanks for taking me back. How are you?
I'm doing well, taking you back. Come on, until we change the name of the show, which obviously, as you know, I could do on Twitch and YouTube and the website because you'd have no idea that it was done. One simple password change and things are fixed. But come on, you know better than that. I'm glad you're back. Good to see you. I lost a bet. I'm happy and surprised because I know what's been going on with you. I would never say it was lazy. I would say it was out of necessity that you have become the bearded one. And I expected John Daly on the show today. And when I jumped on this morning at about 5:30 or whenever it was, you popped on. I went, I'll be damned. He's clean shaven. I lost a bet.
You came dangerously close to winning, though. I didn't shave till late yesterday afternoon. I went 10 weeks without shaving. I was somewhere between Daly and Letterman, with the color of the growth on my face being probably closer to Letterman because I think I'm older than Daly, but not by much. But anyway, yeah, you nearly won it. In fact, if it wasn't for the badgering from my wife, you would have won it.
Well, I noticed because I do see some of the stuff your wife posts on social media, and I saw a picture of you over the weekend. And first off, happy anniversary to you and your wife, which you guys celebrated last week. But also, I saw a picture and you were in full John Daly form. And I went, I won the bet because I saw this yesterday. And I went, I'm going to win. I'm going to win. And then you hop on this morning and you shaved. And I didn't know, was it your wife or was your mother constantly badgering you from New Jersey?
Because I have an excuse,
Right, and a good one.
as excuses go, if it's not a medalist, it's certainly a top 5, top 10 list.
Oh, no. It's a
Right.
medalist, and I think we can throw bronze out. At worst, it's silver. That's all I'm saying.
So even mom, she has just nudged a few times, kind of like, I know it's been a while, I know, but could you? You're really starting to look ratty. That was the word that started to emerge. Okay, what did you say? I looked right before I had to take some time off. Ashen? Was that the color? That my coloring was off. People were telling me you're looking ashen. Okay. My mother was telling me I was looking ratty.
That would do it.
Right.
That would do it.
So, but yes, I shaved. It took an awfully long time.
I would imagine that it did, like yesterday. Started in the first period and ended when Tortorella pulled the goalie. Yeah.
I was going to say I got it done just about before they did the anthem. Yeah. But Miller and Moulton on this Monday. I'll probably have to address this numerous times over the course of the week because our audience chimes in and out. And especially during the summer, you guys take vacations and breaks as well. You don't listen for as long or as often. Sometimes, some of you, then again, some of you, spring and summer is when you listen the most because of your work schedule. But for those who have been with us a while, and, remember, Miller and Moulton next month celebrate 20 years. But during COVID, I thought that, I rolled over at night and I had a pain. And then I thought, oh, wow. So is this what passing a kidney stone's like? And after a 12-day hospital stay during the pandemic when no one was allowed to see me, I had my kidney and assorted areas near it removed because, well, the cancer was wrapped around my kidney. I was told like bacon around a scallop. And I'm like, oh, don't ruin that visual for me. I love bacon and scallop. Come on now. You can't use that. Well, we're just trying to describe it. Well, come up with something else. I love bacon and scallops. So that was 6 years ago. And for 4+ years, I was doing great. Almost 2 years ago, the cancer came back. And Mark and I talked about this. We talked about it with him also. So, what are we going to tell people? When are we going to tell people? And in both our cases, we actually came to the same conclusion. The ground rules just changed with Mark than what we expected. I said to Mark nearly 2 years ago, if I have to start missing time from the show, then I owe it to the audience to let them know what's going on. Well, in the last 21 months, I'd missed 3 days. So, unless I told you guys what was going on, you didn't know what was going on. Now, if you watched on Twitch and YouTube, you noticed there were times I seemed more tired. I had to lay down during commercial breaks. You knew I wasn't 100%, but you didn't know what was going on. And I know Mark and I have talked about this before. When Mark went to Tampa, okay, I think, Mark, I don't want to speak for you. I think you would have told the audience what was going on anyway. But when Mark got in the car and drove to Tampa, as he was on the road, we thought Mark was going to miss like 3 weeks on the air.
Yeah, I never expected Moffat to let me do a radio show, or I would be able to do a radio show while I was in the hospital. My plan was, because I knew I was going to be in the Hope Lodge after, and I had talked to them and they had internet, and I'm like, all right, when I get out of the hospital, I should be able to jump back on the air.
Right. But Mark misses a day, contacts me over the weekend and goes, you're not going to believe this. I brought my equipment on a lark. It works. And they're like, oh, yeah, do it. It'd be fun. So I'm going to be on the air Monday. So Mark missed 2 shows the whole time he was up, at Moffat. So it was like, great. Now, I think we would have, and when I say we, Mark would have told you, because obviously the background would have been different. It's kind of like, where are you and why are you there? And okay, but originally, okay, Mark's like, well, I got to come clean because, I'm going to be in and out and gone for a while. Well, I had missed any time. So I just kept it to myself. But obviously, when I have to take 2 weeks off and I had 2 hospital stays, spanning 6 nights in, the hospital, I got to let you know what's going on. So my cancer returned a little less than 2 years ago, and it's very aggressive. It's treatable. And as you can tell, my voice has started to sound different. For the reason that is one area where it is kind of near my vocal cords. And so I don't know if my voice will come back the way it was. I don't know if this is permanent. I don't know if it's going to get weaker. I just don't know. I hope you'll bear with me. But I'm feeling the best I've felt probably in a month. And it's great to be back. And so, if we miss time off in the future, we'll let you know. So I do think, and we joked about this off air, we've joked about doing a t-shirt of many different slogans over nearly 20 years together. I do think, since we're now both battling the big C at the same time, can we do Miller and Moulton? Something along the lines of the toughest sports radio show in town, or, the toughest damn sports radio show, or, do we go that route or no?
Well, I'm not on it anymore, but my suggestion before I left for Moffat was to rename the show Two Guys on Chemo.
Right. That's true, ladies and gentlemen. That came right out of his mouth.
That also was texted to other people, because we had a couple of other names of what they thought, what their people that we really value their opinion, who have been marketing their whole lives for big companies. We asked them what they thought, and they were in agreement of the 2 or 3 choices we had. Two Guys on Chemo had a nice ring to it.
So, we'll take your suggestions. We will. Goodness knows, we'll do that.
Well,
So,
I had an idea for today, but unfortunately, because of Twitch and YouTube, we can't play music. And we're technically not licensed as a show to play music. I believe all of the stations who carry us are, but we're also on some websites, and I don't think they are. But I was going to go with either Back in the Saddle, Aerosmith, or just simply your favorite 70s TV theme show, Go Welcome Back Cotter theme. For this morning. So at 21,000, the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line, I will take your suggestions of what song we could have, if we played music, what song we could have greeted David with this morning. David, I want to greet you with 2 things. They are numbers, because I don't know if you have them. It's been a while, but they are 86 days away from the NFL Wednesday night kickoff on September 9th with Seattle and New England. And if it's week 0 you're looking for, everyone, that's 73 days away.
73 and 86. Yep.
We were in triple digits when you left, David. We're now in double digits, and that 73 seems manageable. And that's important, because the NBA season is now over. The NHL season is now over. It is U.S. Open week in golf. The World Cup is off to a terrific start. They got me. I didn't think they would for group stage. I told everyone I wasn't interested in group with this new 87 groups and everybody advancing, but Curacao scoring to make it 1-1 against Germany, I'm all in.
Wow.
Ivory Coast with a win late last night, I'm all in. Japan tying my team that I'm rooting for, the Netherlands, I'm all in. That doesn't even get to the United States with a fantastic victory. The starting five with one David Moulton is 25 minutes away.
The Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
No! This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio, with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes alive.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
And finally, Michael, if we're going to have a t-shirt, there's really only one guy that's been talking about it for 10 years. And I can assure you, he's never going to do it. And I am never going to do it. So as much as you're right with everything you say, a t-shirt ain't happening. It's cute and all, but it ain't happening. Love the radio broadcast, DB. I'm damn near close to programming. I have Fox Sports program because that's where most of it is. But there's I don't know if they put all of the games on or if some of them are on the FC channel.
Oh, you mean on Sirius?
Yeah. Most of them, like when I've been in the car, they've been on Fox since the World Cup started. I did listen. I told Seth, I listened to part of the Champions League final on radio because I was driving around. It's great. God almighty, it's great. First off, I would sync up the radio broadcast while watching on television because I don't know who the players are. You know, you're getting descriptions. You're getting far more tactical talk because it's radio and they have to. You would learn far more about the game and strategy, I think, if you watched that. I had a text going with a listener who has my number, David, and an email going with a listener during the USA World Cup game.
What in the world?
They were excited. My wife watched with me. She was excited. Daughter didn't care. She was in bed. My son asked my daughter on the phone, would you rather watch college football with your dad or clean your room? Her answer was clean my room. Although she watched a little bit of the World Cup yesterday. She watched the Netherlands. Yes, NASCAR radio. NASCAR radio is far better than NASCAR. It's not close. I'll take NASCAR radio every day over watch. That puts me to sleep faster than PGA golf or LPGA golf for that matter. I'm out in 2 laps if I put NASCAR on a Sunday. It's terrific. There's nothing like and if I put on outside with my couch out by the pool, I put that waterfall on, a little NASCAR. Oh my goodness. Fan over top. It's one of the best naps you'll ever take.
Now you just have to make sure you're covered.
Oh, that's all under. That's under. Yeah, that area is shaded. I think their golf coverage on PGA Radio is terrific of tournaments. I do. I think they do a nice job. The 2 brothers there, I can't think of what they're good. Former players. But there's a bunch of them that I think are pretty good. George McNeil's getting it done. Not winning, but he's doing well.
Ka-ching, ka-ching.
Well, and he's in the top 10, which that gets him in the majors. You know, that because I texted him last week and I said, this 50 looks pretty good on you. I what's going on here? He just laughed. I got to get to the top 10. And he was 11th after last week. And I think
he finished T6.
Yeah, I think that should get him in. They didn't have the stats updated yesterday. I'll check now. But I checked who was, 9 and 10. And I think he should be in good shape. He was leading after the first round. Shot 7 under on Friday. If they're updated, he's still 11th. I'll be damned.
Do they do it by points or money?
Money.
Yeah, he got 68 grand.
Yeah, and Darren Clark finished ahead of him. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Pete Smith to talk NBA next hour. Season's still got a long ways to go. Oh, I'm sorry. That's just me dragging it out because of how it ended. And Dave McCarthy to talk the NHL. We'll just fill between now and a week from Friday when the draft is underway. No?
So, got to ask you, obviously with everything going on, there were some days that were not good because you were in the hospital. So how much were you able to watch? How excited were you able to get?
Well, you know me. I don't think it's going to happen until a minute and 37 seconds before it's going to happen. So, I mean, when they were up 2-0, I wasn't sure they were going to win it. And I remember saying to everybody I was talking to, whoever wins game 4 is going to win the finals. So obviously most of that game, you knew which way I thought that the finals were going to go. When they won and the way they won, I thought, okay, but I didn't think they were going to win it in 5. I did not think they were going to go to San Antonio and win. I watched every second of game 5. And even though San Antonio had so many chances to put them away, and normally I would have felt like Barkley did, which is, listen, they're letting them hang around. They're going to lose. I didn't, because it was my team, and my team doesn't win, especially this one. I mean, I had no memory of the 73 Knicks. I was 7. And my Knick fandom started when I was around 9 or 10. I missed the glory days of 69 through 74 when they went to 3 finals and 5 conference finals, and I missed those days. So I did, a little surprisingly, and maybe it's because of what I'm going through, Mark, but I was sitting in a room Saturday night with my 2 nephews who are in their early and late 20s. And I had tears running down my face. When the Knicks won, I was crying. Now, the room was dark. I don't know if they saw me, but I was crying when the Knicks won. It was not the Rangers of 94. I don't know why, but I cried. I did, and I couldn't believe it. I just kept saying, I don't believe it. It's unbelievable. I can't believe they won. I don't believe it. Jalen Brunson is not the greatest Knick of all time. It was the greatest performance by a Knick of all time, but that he's not the greatest Knick of all time. And for those that want to have that debate, I'll have it with you. It's Walt Clyde Frazier, and I'll go round and round with you on it. But Mark, especially with what's popped back up in my life in the last 2 years, which we talked about last segment, that my cancer returned. It's why I've been, quote unquote, under the weather and was gone for 2 weeks. Mark, I didn't think it was going to happen in my lifetime. I didn't.
Well, I will say from a Brunson standpoint, you know me, I don't care who's the greatest this or that. That's not my thing. I try to live in the moment. But I will say this, there's not a doubt in my mind. He is cemented in the Mount Rushmore of Knicks for all time. And whether people want to debate that or not, to me is highly irrelevant, because what he did for them puts him in an area code that others are not.
No.
You might basketball wise be able to say, and I don't know if you can because I don't do this, that there are 4 better Knicks as far as basketball players, but no, he's now cemented on the Mount Rushmore because it was a wild series, because I'll give Trent credit. Trent he picked the Spurs. That's a mush. He has there's a reason he bets $2. He doesn't win anything. He had a tennis match, got that. It's uncanny how much he misses. But he did say something before the series, and part of the reason that he picked the Spurs was he says, I think Cat has to be the best big man in games that Knick win. And for 2 games, he was. You go back to game 1 and 2, Karl Anthony Towns was the best player on the court. He was better than Brunson, finished it off. But without Cat, they're not in a position to finish it off. And then from that point on, he largely disappeared. OG Anunoby was the Robin to Brunson during that series. So, and Brunson was just amazing. The shots he made, the things he did, it was fun. I said it all along. If you took the uniforms out and they were team A versus team B, you take the New York part out of it, man, they're fun to root for. They are. I really thought the rookie coach was every bit as good as Mike Brown. Well, and then game 4 happened. And then you have to take all of that back and never really speak from an educational standpoint about basketball again, if you're someone like me, because that's one of the worst coaching jobs I've ever seen. I give the Knicks all the credit in the world for coming back, but the Spurs should have never lost that game. We all know that.
Listen, the Spurs should have won the series. They led for over 70% of it.
Double-digit leads in every first quarter. Every first quarter. I know it's just the first quarter and it's a whole game, but that's tough to do.
Mark, I think they had double-digit leads in the second half of 4 out of the 5 games. So, there was a veteran team who had blown a couple of playoff series the last 2 years. Everybody had forgotten recent history. The Knicks didn't know how to close. The Knicks had been eliminated 4 consecutive playoff years where they had home court advantage in the series they got eliminated in. All right. The Knicks were the team that couldn't close. And then here are the Spurs who can close against Oklahoma City and can't close against the Knicks. How strange is that?
And as young as the Spurs are, and as much as we should see a lot of them for the next 5 years, There are no guarantees.
No.
You know, I know Denver's an older team and they lost some pieces, but the Nuggets haven't been back to the finals since they won the finals. So 8 different teams in 8 years, that's great for the NBA, although I think all leagues like dynasties, but it's great for fan bases to know that our team could be next. But it was the Knicks' time. I mean, from the Philadelphia series, when in the clinching game, there were more Knicks fans there than 76er fans, and right on through game 5 against the Spurs, when you could loudly hear the New York fan in San Antonio. But congratulations to you, David. You got to see something that you'd never seen. And that, I told everybody, I don't root for New York teams. If the Knicks win, I'm happy for David. Really, no one else. Sorry. And Knicks fans proved that to me because they were themselves. But to Brunson, to the Cat, to OG Anunoby, they were terrific. They really were. They closed, quite frankly. They closed in ways we hadn't seen in basketball in a while.
And Thursday, I get my parade. You know me. Every fan base deserves a parade.
So they also avoid the confusion that would have been game 6 with a World Cup game in New York, New Jersey. Well, Seth's still ticked about that.
Yeah, whatever.
But the Knicks are champions, and last night the Hurricanes finished it off. And good for Rod Brindamore, and good for Jordan Stahl, who won the Conn Smythe as the playoff MVP. It was certainly a team award last night. The starting 5 is next.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Oh, Paula, you're so cute. You're so cute. That is such a cute story. I know it's a cute story. That's why it's the truth. It's cute. Hopefully he reads that in a second, Matt, because it appears to me that the starting five's not done yet. I still see a lot of pen to paper. Back to the written form of the starting five, everyone. Don't think I'm going to let off on him. Whatever. Cancer schmancer. That's the way we act around here. And if you were to have seen the text over the past few weeks, you'd know that that's evident. Now that we got the beard shaved, we got to get him to a barber. I bet you it's been 10 weeks since a haircut, too. Although he has hair, so I'm jealous. I think I have to get a brush, like in like an old school, like a brush, because this is it's just there. You go, Paul. 2 bits. The bad cheer. By the way, I couldn't hear it for those of you, and I did not. I heard a lot of USAs. Did the Outlaws do their "I Believe" chant at all during the game? Because I didn't hear it, but I can't say I was listening for it. But I wasn't really listening for it, DC, if you know what I mean. All right. That's kind of what I think. Kind of, I seriously, Paula? Wow. I must say, for me personally, the not drinking assures me of staying up for the end of these games. I was texting with a buddy who went down in the double overtime game. And I'm like, did you make it? He's like, no. I said, yeah, this is where not drinking helps. Because I would probably be out too in a double OT game if I was knocking back beers. Has it been 10 weeks since a haircut too?
Oh yeah.
I was going to say, because there's a lot of hair there. You ready for a ponytail? Like a man bun one too. Coming back in 3.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. It's great to be back. The reason that I was away for 2 weeks, I was hospitalized twice, or 6 total nights in the hospital. And it's because, well, my cancer from 6 years ago returned 2 years ago. And I've been battling it, have missed 3 days of work in 2 years, but couldn't overcome what befell me the first couple of weeks of this month. So had to take care of a few things. And Mark, thanks for filling in. Normally we joke about this most every year as spring becomes summer. These are the dog days for sports radio. I mean, if ever a host is going to get hospitalized and miss a couple of weeks, well, you need to do it during football season, not football season. You need to do it during football season. And here Mark is on his own for the first 2 weeks of June. And every day I would go to bed and I would think, well, if we're doing the show tomorrow, what would we be talking about? And to be like, my goodness, there's never been so much to talk about in the first 2 weeks of June before.
Well, and we will get to rehashing something that happened last week about a topic that we've talked about a lot that has been brought to the forefront by what's happened in Lubbock. And someone put a big hole, someone that we really like, really respect, put a big hole in a theory, in an idea Miller and Moulton have had for years now. So we will get to that coming up. And I did have help. I mean, I had Trent for most of the shows, and I had Seth for a couple more. Seth ran off 2 listeners by one sentence. One sentence. That's where we are today in the world, that they heard one word and they were done, even though there's a lot of people that said the same thing he said. But that's all right.
So they won't come back?
No, they've been back. They just left that day. They were done with them. They were done with them. And I've said that for years. And you've said it for years. You guys, the listeners, have all the power. And I will say, on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line, would love that David's walk-up song today. I was going with either Back in the Saddle by Aerosmith or the theme from Welcome Back, Kotter, just to piss him off. Because that song was #1 in the nation. And to this day, that still bothers David.
Well, yes, there are many elite artists, all right, who have never had a #1 hit of any kind. And the theme from Welcome Back, Kotter was #1 in this country. Why? Because it was the 70s. And we can make a few conclusions about the 70s, one of which is we did a lot of drugs.
The starting 5. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the starting 5.
Basketball season ended late Saturday night. Hockey season ended late last night in Las Vegas. Carolina, the Hurricanes, for the first time in 20 years, they danced with Lord Stanley. Second time in franchise history. The first time, Rod Brindamore was their captain. 20 years later, he's their head coach. Carolina in 6, 3-0 the final. An absolutely remarkable final for this factoid. It's one thing for the reserve goalie to be forced into action midway through any playoff series and be the difference in a good way. It's another thing for the reserve goalie to be forced into action midway through the Stanley Cup Finals and end up being the difference. But Mark, wouldn't you agree, if you put these two facts together, he wasn't just a reserve goalie, he was a reserve goalie who had never played a second of playoff hockey. And the series completely changed when he was forced into action.
Well, in a few things, David, quickly, because I know you got a lot to get to. But first off, everything you said is correct. Secondly, he did play a decent amount during the regular season, but he was not their guy. And he's a 28-year-old that's not a rookie only because you have to be 26 or younger to be considered a rookie.
Right, he's too old.
Right. I thought in the game that he came back in that they lost, he was terrific. I did. Even though they lost that game, he only gave up 1 goal. That was the double OT game. And it was a fluky goal at that. I thought in the next game he was flopping around like a fish out of water and got, I don't want to say lucky, because luck is what it is. But I thought that he was fortunate that they won game 5, because I didn't think he was great, but he made some big saves and he was great when he had to be. And Vegas missed on opportunities, in my opinion. But in game 6, oh man, was he good.
Brandon Bussi, Bussi, is the reserve goalie whose name will now be prominently displayed on Lord Stanley's Cup as the Carolina Panthers won their second Cup championship. From the moment Bussi entered the series, Carolina outscored Vegas 16-6. Remarkable.
But for the record, he played more games than Anderson in the regular season. Anderson was their guy, but he had some injuries. But Bussi was 31-6 with 2 OT losses in the regular season. So he was terrific all season long. But he wasn't supposed to play in the postseason.
Right. Meanwhile, Saturday night, as we mentioned, the NBA season came to an end with the Knicks winning their first title since 1973 and their third ever NBA championship, beating the Spurs to win in 5. World Cup yesterday. Group E and Group F were highlighted. In Group E, Germany 7-0 over Curacao, and Ivory Coast with a late goal to surprise Ecuador 1-0.
7-1 against Curacao. Do not take that goal away from that man. That is the biggest goal in the history of soccer, in the smallest nation to have ever qualified for a World Cup. They actually tied the game at 1. As they said on air, that man will never have to pay for a drink in his home country again.
Japan with a late goal to tie things up with Netherlands at 2. And Sweden beat Tunisia 5-1. That's Group F action. Today it'll be Group G and Group H. The U.S. back in action Friday afternoon, 3 Eastern, against Australia. The U.S. was so good Friday night that I don't know, Mark, if you heard any of the commentary. And Alexi Lawless says some outlandish things.
He should be taken off the air immediately. He might be the worst analyst in sports today. And that includes the golf analyst on CBS, David.
Well, first off, for as bad as they are on CBS, I still think they're better than Kistner on NBC, but we can have that debate later in the show. But Alexi Lawless, at the end of the first half, when we were up 3-0, was asked for his impressions. And he said, I've been around U.S. World Cup soccer since 1990. I don't know if I've ever seen them play a better half in the World Cup than what they just played. And what was interesting was you couldn't get anybody else at the table to disagree with him.
It shows you 2 things. 1, we've not been that good at this sport. But 2, after the last 8 years, David, and maybe even 12 years, when we tried to play a different style, we went back to playing a style of soccer. You and I we're novices at best in this sport. But Team USA has to be on the attack. We have to try to score. We don't play a defensive. We're not good enough to play a defensive counterpunch style.
No.
What did they do? It was that they were a much better team than the team they played, but they were on the attack the whole game. They were fun. That was incredibly enjoyable to watch.
Baseball. Hey, how about the Marlins? Anybody been paying attention? They're 10-2 in June. They're back to 500. They just went into Pittsburgh, won a series from the Pirates. Okay. Meyer outpitched Skeens in beating them 4-2 yesterday. 4 teams in the NL East are 500 or above in mid-June. What the hell's going on?
And the only team that's not is the Mets. Now,
Right.
come on. If you were to say 4 teams, because you'd go Phillies, you'd go Braves, you'd have gone Mets, and you've been, all right, the Marlins or Nats are over their skis, but it's the Marlins and the Nats that are playing better than expected. We knew the Nats could score, but the Marlins playing good baseball here lately.
Well, Mark, the Mets just aren't spending enough money. But they did manage to take a series from the Braves, who had a rough week last week. They lost back-to-back series. Roughest week they've had all year. Mets beat them yesterday 8-1. Brewers 4-0 over the Phillies. They took 2 of 3. The Phillies right now are the second wild card in the National League. Brewers have a 5-game lead in the Central. Twins were trailing 4-2 in the 7th. Rallied to beat the Cardinals 5-4. St. Louis 5 games back in the Central. They're the first wild card in the National League. Giants avoided the sweep, beat the Cubs 5-1. Cubs 2.5 back of the Cardinals. They're a game back of the Padres for the final playoff spot in the National League. San Diego beat Baltimore 5-2. They hold down the final playoff spot in the National League. Washington beat Seattle 10-1. The Washington Nationals on June 15th have a better record than the Seattle Mariners, albeit by half a game, and Seattle's in first place and Washington's in third, but still, the Nats with a better record than the Mariners.
And the Nats have scored more runs than the Dodgers. They've scored nearly 400 runs. This team can mash.
So the A's played last week in Vegas. They took 2 out of 3 in 2 series. They got thumped yesterday, though. In fact, Mark, could you call it an AFC West affair where the Broncos beat the Raiders 23-9?
Was it a safety or did they go for 2 twice?
I think they went for 2 twice. By the way, most runs in Rockies history. That's saying something because they've scored some runs. The Rays avoided the sweep, beat the Angels 8-3. Caminero with a homer in the 8th to break the tie. The Yankees, meanwhile, scored 5 in the 9th to take the series from Toronto 8-3. They have a 1-game lead over the Rays. The White Sox took a series from the Dodgers for the first time in 12 years, thanks to a 6-run 6th. The Chicago White Sox are tied for first. If you've been following baseball at all the last 2 years, you'd realize how ridiculous, remarkable, stupendous, all in one that sentence is.
David, we brought up the kid Montgomery last week. That was their 12th player this year who's made his MLB debut for the White Sox. Not only are they in first place, but how they're doing it is flat out remarkable.
They're tied with the Guardians, who got rained out against the Tigers yesterday. Arizona beat the Reds 5-3. Kansas City tied for the worst record in the American League, but they beat Houston 4-0. And Texas, in front of Scotland's Tartan Army at Fenway, avoided the sweep and beat the Red Sox 6-4. Golf, Bud Cauley had the 4th longest streak of not winning on the PGA Tour. He snapped it yesterday, winning the Canadian Open by 2. Champions Tour, Zach Johnson won at home in Iowa. Our buddy George McNeil, T6, $68,000, top 12 in the rankings on the tour this year on the Champions Tour. Denny Hamlin, 3rd straight win, his 8th career win at Pocono.
curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
No!
This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio, with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes alive.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Did you not drop it all there?
No, I never dropped.
Okay. Well, I've never had that happen before. StreamYard just, like it just went, not how sometimes it freezes. I just went gone, bye-bye. StreamYard
Right.
did.
Yep, I was disconnected.
Okay, so you were disconnected.
Yeah, by StreamYard.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay, then
Yeah,
yes.
So you went off StreamYard also. Okay, that's what I was asking.
Yes, my screen
So
disappeared.
something happened. That's a StreamYard issue because
Yes.
we never went off Comrec, so I just kind of kept going to get us to the break on radio. But okay, that was weird.
I was. Thank you, Johnny O. Appreciate that. I will say this is the best I've felt in quite a while.
It's the best you've sounded, and you don't sound great, but it's the best you've sounded in a long time. You didn't include the UFC fights.
Uh,
I'm kidding, David.
no. And were they even underway when the Canes won the cup?
I
Was
wouldn't. I wouldn't have a clue because I never turned them on.
Well, I didn't. Yeah, I wouldn't have turned them on either. But the last I saw, it was like 9:30, 9:40. There were still rain delays.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Monday. Thanks so much for being with us, Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Couple of quick things. There was a technical glitch at the end of last hour when I was wrapping up the starting five. Mark may have said the very same things, but thing is, Mark's not a big racing fan. So, one, did you finish Denny Hamlin? Eighth career.
David, you said Danny Hamlin won. That was enough for me.
8th career win at Poconos, 3rd in a row. He's supposed to retire at the end of next year. He's like leading the series. He's 45 years old, though. The win had him pass the late Kurt Busch on the all-time win list for 8th all-time. And Lewis Hamilton in a Ferrari, a winner in Barcelona in the F1 series. You still into the College World Series baseball tournament, or are the games too long for you?
No. I'm into it. Kyle Busch, not Kurt Busch, by the way. That's what you said. He passed Kyle Busch, not Kurt Busch.
That's true. I really do need to get which brother died right. That's important.
I mean, for the Busch family, at least.
Well, for more than that. I mean, it's one thing getting the Carolina Hurricanes and the Carolina Panthers bumbling on that in the first hour of the show. But yeah, we got to get Kurt, okay, who's retired, and Kyle, who's permanently retired. Yes, we do need to make that proper distinction. Yes, we do. So, anyway, Troy with their first ever win.
Taking out Ole Miss.
Yeah.
That's big.
Yeah, it is, taking out an SEC team.
And
yeah.
I'm rooting for West Virginia, and they had opportunities last night. In fact, had the tying runner to the plate in the 9th inning, unable to get it done. So North Carolina, who's got a great pitching staff, moves on in the region there, where they'll probably play an SEC team because, well, that's all that's pretty much in the other region.
Yeah.
In the other bracket, I should say.
Bama, Texas, an elimination game today. Meanwhile, on the winner's side, it's Georgia and Oklahoma. Boy, it seems like a lot of SEC to me.
Yeah, it does. Oklahoma pounded Alabama in the first game. All right, David, I wanted to get to this.
Okay.
Because obviously, to me, the biggest story while you were gone was not the NBA or the NHL. And I wish it would have been. But Sorsby getting the injunction, Texas Tech doubling, tripling, quadrupling down, having a 26-minute video produced with the coach, the AD, the associate AD. I'm not sure why they didn't have Cody Campbell on that panel, because it was that much of a you-know-what. But I'm not even, I'll let you say your piece whenever you want about that. I want to get to this, David, because the one thing that you and I have said now for at least 2 years, if not longer, is that they need to make the players employees. We have been hard and fast on that. We have not deviated one bit. Well, on Friday, we had a pretty smart guy on the show. Thursday or Friday, I guess. Andrew Brandt. And you and I have kind of said something about Andrew Brandt when he comes on our show. And we've had Andrew on the show, for at least 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
And when we've always said before and or after Andrew is on the show, we have said we feel like not only the audience, but we feel like we get smarter after interviewing Andrew Brandt. He is a sharp guy. He has been an agent. He has worked for the Packers. He teaches a sports law class at Villanova, and he now helps institutions with NIL. He is as well-versed as anyone we talk to on this show. And I asked him about employees, and I knew how it was going to go because I had seen one of his posts on X. And he simply said, it ain't going to work. And his reasons behind it were, and put it this way, I could get Andrew back on and tape it at any point and do an hour with him on this, because I don't think he had nearly enough time, in a 14-minute interview in which we touched on a lot of other things, including that he wrote a book. But the biggest point, he says, what sport are we going to get? What sport? All of them? Are they all going to play by the same rules? And he just started kind of talking, David, that he believes that we actually, and I did not think that, I never liked the idea of Congress doing anything, because what the hell can they do? I mean, what do they do that's helping? And he really thinks that that we need a congressional act for the college athletes, because one, there's too many conferences and too many voices. Two, there are too many athletes in too many sports. And if you make, the football players, and obviously he talked about strikes, but he didn't even really get into that. But he's the first person, because we've had Amanda Kristovich on, who works for Front Office Sports, very smart young lady who's been on the show, who's all over a lot of the things that have to do with the college athlete. But Andrew Brandt was the first one that just basically said, guys, it ain't going to work. You can't make them employees. There are too many holes there. I know everybody says it, and it's a simple solution. And he just started rattling off all the reasons why he doesn't believe it's going to work. And I was surprised, because one, I respect him a lot. And two, that's the first person, David, who's ever just said, yeah, that ain't going to. People have said, I don't know how to do it, but they've never said that can't happen. That's not the right way. So I was very surprised by that.
Yeah, this kind of reminds me of any attempt to answer a serious political issue of the day, in which every side just says is, nope, can't do it. Nope, it's not going to work. Nope, can't. Damn it, do something. Do something. Grow a pair. Try something. How about failing trying to do something? How about that? And if you fail over and over and over again, guess what? You may actually come to a solution. I'm sick of it ain't going to work.
Well, no, there's a difference, David. He didn't say, no, we've got no chance. He just said it's got to be Congress. He simply said the only way to do this, and this wasn't I'm not coming up with any opinion, your opinion doesn't work. I do want to at least give you that. He gave the reasons why he doesn't think that works, and gave the reasons why he thinks we need Congress. That was my biggest surprise, is that he didn't just poo-poo it down the road and say, your idea is stupid. He actually had a solution. And that's very different than at least people who say your idea is not going to work. So
good.
I do want to defend him here, because you.
Okay, that's fine. We got 10 weeks then to enact it. What's it, 73 days? What are we at? What are the numbers today, 86 and 73?
Yeah.
So we've got 73 days till week 0 or whatever?
Right.
Okay, so we got 10 weeks. Fine, let's go. Come on, it's not like you boys in Congress are doing anything. Okay, you actually want to run on something? Try fixing something. Okay, run on it. Fine, do it. But I'm sick of this. We can't do this, and therefore we're not even going to try. And yeah, the Texas Tech thing is gross. Okay, and Mark, I'm willing to say this. This is the hill I'm willing to die on. If I'm the commissioner of the Big 12, if I'm a Big 12 school, this is a hill I'm willing to die on. We ain't playing Texas Tech in anything. Okay? Here's my solution from within the Big 12. We're all forfeiting our games against Texas Tech. Okay? First off, just bear with me. Do you know how much pressure there's going to be on that Texas Tech quarterback to get out of the way when all his teammates, by the way, he's never played with any of them. He's been on campus 3 days. Okay? When they're all going to lose out on their final year of football because nobody wants to play them. Okay. By the way, do they get paid if they don't play? I'm just asking a few questions. Do you showcase yourself for the draft if you don't play? Okay. Do you imagine the pressure that's going to be on that quarterback if every single team on their schedule says, we ain't going to play you? Number one. Okay. Here's number two. Let's just say they get 12 forfeits. Okay. Mark, we saw the committee keep a 13-0 Florida State team out of the playoff. You really think the committee's going to vote Texas Tech in the playoff? Well, seriously, you think they're going to vote them in? I don't. I think they're going to make their stand. I think they're going to stand on the side of all the other schools.
Well, unless they win the conference, which they would by forfeiting, just hear me out. The college football committee is not obligated to take Texas Tech. The college football committee could look and say, we consider all of their games forfeits because they played an eligible player. They could go back to the NCAA rules. I got a great text from someone who worked in college athletics who said, the college football committee could just say they could consider any game he plays in a forfeit.
Right?
Now, I thought the other side of this was funny is that the Texas Attorney General basically said, if you guys don't schedule them, there's lawsuits. And the Oklahoma Attorney General said, yeah, bring it.
Yep. Exactly. This is the hill I'm willing to die on. If I'm the Big 12 commissioner, if I'm any of the other schools in the Big 12, no, I'm willing to die on this hill. Absolutely, I'm willing to die on. I'm willing to make a mockery of my conference. Absolutely, I am. Yep, I sure am. By the way, how much money is that going to cost Texas Tech?
Well, at what point then? Because here's the one thing you and I have talked about. The Big 12 is a fascinating conference because they're the only conference that has contracts with Fox and ESPN. And if teams start forfeiting, not only will they get pressure from both, from inside, from the players and all the things you mentioned, David, they would be getting pressure from the two networks that run the damn sport.
So I'm willing to die on that hill. I am. I think it's a big enough issue. I think it's a joke.
Miller and Moulton. College football, 73 days away.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I have to talk about my hero next, David. You have no idea. You have no idea who it is because you left this medium. You got angry, picked up your ball, and went home. And you are missing one of the greatest things going on in sports right now.
On X?
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Huh.
Done more for American tourism in 8 days than any American. I'll get to it in a moment. Oh, Johnny, it's Take Me Home Country Road. Let me just correct everything you say that could be possibly correct. You know how annoying that would be? And when's your show, by the way? I've got to listen because I would imagine for 4 hours you've never made an air. Send me the link. Not only do you correct everything that we say that could possibly be wrong, you also correct things that are incorrect. I never said West Virginia was eliminated. I said UNC won. I said West Virginia had the tie and run at the plate in the 9th inning. And I said I'm rooting for West Virginia. Those are all still true. I think they're the best story. Well, like I said on Friday, Troy's the best story. West Virginia is equal because Troy has no business being there. But that's the luck of the way college baseball works, that they end up getting Little Rock. They don't reseed them. They didn't have to play one of the top 2 seeds. That's like FGCU getting to play a 10 seed. Yeah, whoever said that, you know what? Pleasant Journeys? If Johnny O were a radio critic, I would take it seriously. He spends every show telling us what we get wrong. After a while, it gets annoying. Now, Puck, I got it. But again, Puck, Troy got there because they played Little Rock. If they would have had to go take on, and I think the one seed, UCLA was the one they lost. I don't know if the 2 won or lost. Their chances would have been far less had they had to go on the road to play a seeded team. The way college baseball works, they got to host Little Rock. It's a break.
By the way, how amazing was it? UCLA, number 1 team in the country, never lost a series all year.
Right.
And can't get out of a double elimination round on their home field. Gotta love sports.
I understand, Puck. I watch the region. I love when you guys tell me things that I absolutely know and in fact have talked about on the air. You know what? Puck, I'm sorry. You know what? Troy should be there. They should win the whole thing. They're obviously the best college baseball team in the country. Oh, by the way, they're the first ever team to go to Omaha with 30 losses. Okay? This is unprecedented. Literally.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Keith Smith, who's been our resident NBA guy for about a decade, will wrap up the NBA season with the Knicks. Wait a minute. Is that what that says here? The Knicks won the title? We'll get Keith to correct that and tell us what actually happened coming up. Dave McCarthy next hour to talk hockey.
Unbelievable series for Carolina. It's funny. They played their best. They just kept playing better. Vegas looked like they were going to, after that double OT game, would they take it? But it just sparked the Hurricanes, who then poured it on. And I will say Carlson being hurt in that game didn't help Vegas at all. That was a big part of their team, and him not playing certainly hurt Vegas.
Did you say spark the Hurricanes, or did you say rock you like a hurricane? What?
Trust me, you know I didn't say the latter. But David, you took your ball and went home about a month ago. Somebody hacked your X account. You tried to get back on. You got very angry with X and you quit X. You didn't put a new account together. You occasionally will go on the Miller and Moulton account to retweet what I tweeted from that account, which I find fun. But you largely have quit X. And you were someone who, I don't know, I would almost say relied upon it for a lot of sports news.
Yeah.
I don't know where you're going to get all your sports news now. I feel like you have a hole in your sports life because you took your ball and went home.
Well, fortunately, that hole's been filled up. Well, not fortunately, I should say very unfortunately, the hole's been filled up in part by the Knicks. That was the good part. Okay. You know, the medical reasons were the bad part. So now I got no Knicks. And I still got the medical stuff. So you're right. I got a hole.
Now you don't have the Mets either, David. So you had 73 days. You know what? You're going to be looking forward to week 0. Trust me.
Let's talk some more about this Texas Tech quarterback, shall we?
No. We are going to talk about my favorite sports story that's happened in a while. And it's Freddie. Freddie from Germany. David, I'll give you an update because I did talk about Freddie last week. Freddie is a German football fan. Freddie flew to Dublin from Germany, where he spent 24 hours, and then he flew to New York, where he connected to Atlanta. And in Atlanta, he rented a car, and he started traveling the southern part of our country. And he didn't take the interstate. He went to Chattanooga. He did some tubing on a river. He went to, I think it's Helena, Georgia, which is a German village in the northern part of Georgia in the mountains. He said, I'm home. And he became this incredible follow on X. And people started retweeting his stuff of the joy that this man was having visiting our country and going to the Waffle House and Buc-ee's and all of these places that are very American. He went to Jordan Hare to see the Iceland, I believe, Argentina friendly. And if I have the teams wrong, I apologize. I know for a fact you'll all correct me. But he took in the game and was mesmerized by Jordan Hare Stadium because they treated that friendly like it was an Auburn football game. They had the eagle fly. He's like, what is this, an eagle? And then he fell in love with the big college or big country artist who's kind of taken over the airwaves, Ella Langley, who's become just a star damn near overnight. I mean, she was just in Southwest Florida 2 or 3 weeks ago. Trust me, she ain't ever playing an 8,000-seat arena again, not anytime soon, if you know what I mean. So he went to Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Florida, made his way to Louisiana, where he wanted to see an alligator. He ended up seeing LSU Stadium, getting a private tour of LSU Stadium because he's turned in to an ex-star. We don't know what he looks like because when he posts pictures, he puts Ronaldo's face over him and he puts two smiley faces over his two buddies. You have no idea who this man is. And as someone posted on X, it's amazing that a German tourist has reminded us how great our country is. Well, to say it's gone viral is a vast understatement because now country music stations started like following him. And as he was coming into town, they're playing Ella Langley songs for him. She has since direct messaged him and invited him to a concert in Oklahoma City, where he is going to be her guest at a show. Oh, yeah, by the way, when he got to Houston for the German game, which is why he's here in the first place, he got a little upgrade. He got a suite at the hotel he was staying at, paid for by J.J. Watt. It has become the greatest thing I've ever seen. Just simple, and there aren't a lot of posts. That's the ironic thing. It's not that he's posting every 2 seconds, but he's just posted Americana and where he's eaten at and where he's watched a game. And when he was at Auburn, it was raining. He decided not to take an Uber and walk, and he couldn't believe it. But the person at the hotel or wherever he was at said, "Get in, I'll give you a ride," showing him what? A little Southern hospitality. So Freddie on X, David, is the greatest thing in sports today.
Is that Freddy or IE?
Correct. No, it's Y. Freddie with a Y. He's
Freddie
been
with a
given
Y.
so much stuff that he's laughed that he's going to need more luggage to get home. He got a package from the Rockets. He got a signed jersey from J.J. Watt. If you want to follow him on X, it's Freddie, FREDDYLA7. That's his X handle.
Did he know who J.J. Watt was?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know Freddie. He didn't say that.
Listen, I think many of us can appreciate a person who loves a good Waffle House anytime, day or night. I mean, I'm in. I'll throw Freddie a few bucks. Well, not that he needs it. I mean, hell, he's getting free upgrades and what have you.
But he said in a post yesterday, so this is all so insane. We found this when we got back to our room, and someone even sent cupcakes to our room. I genuinely don't understand how it got to this point. We're just normal World Cup tourists. And it was a gift package from the Rockets. It was a food spread and the cupcakes. And then they found a note because it came from a cupcake company in Houston who say they make the best cupcakes. And in fact, it's I guess the Crave Cupcakes. So I don't know if that's a ripoff of the cookie place. Probably is. So or it might be the cookie place. But he is literally now, as it was just pointed out, he's at over 600,000 followers on X. When I checked this on Friday and talked about it, he was at 425,000 followers. Trust me, when this all started, it wasn't that high. It has taken a life of its own. It's given him his 15 minutes, if you will, and he's done it being slightly anonymous because there's no picture of him on any of these. He puts something over his face in every picture, and people have been doing things for him. Like I said, at LSU, he got a tour of the stadium and, got to see Mike the Tiger and just some different things that he's been able to do while on this trip. And he's taken the back roads, which reminds us all to slow down a little bit and take in a city that you wouldn't expect to go to from time to time.
Can he break away and go to Omaha for a West Virginia baseball game?
Well, I don't know if he's going to go to Omaha for a baseball game. He's going to go to Oklahoma City for the concert, and then he's coming back for the Portugal-Congo match in Houston. I don't know how long he's in the country. He's never said. I'm not really offering travel advice for him. I'm just merely following what he's got set up. I know the concert's turned into an add-on to the trip. And she right now, And I'm not a country guy. Everybody knows that. She's the hottest country artist in the country. So,
But it's interesting. If he's not going to reveal his identity, this can only go so far.
I think he didn't want any of this. This just happened organically, is what makes it so great. Keith Smith, next.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Go! This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio, with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes alive.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Well, that's Well, Puck, he very rarely puts himself in the post, one. And two, these people who can, quickly doctor a photo, that doesn't take long if you know what you're doing. He puts two smiley faces over his buddies and Ronaldo over him. Probably already has him in there. Honestly, I would bet you it takes him less than 30 seconds tops to do that to a photo. But he doesn't do it. That's his avatar is a picture of Ronaldo, and he uses that over the picture of himself when they put pictures in there of themselves. They have very rarely put any pictures of themselves in there. And he hasn't said he's going to Germany. He's not really given up where he's going next, other than to the concert. I don't know if he was just going to one game or if he's going to Toronto. My guess is if he does, he's getting a comped hotel room. SGA's got to step up now. Someone does. I'm just trying to figure out why some games of the ECHL are on Amazon Prime and others aren't, because they've had one game of the finals on. Because I would actually watch. Exactly, DC. And I'm by no means savvy, but I'm sure someone could show me, and I could even pull that off in short order. Oh, God, I did not know he was coming that way. Did you send him a link, David? Okay. We've never had him on that way, so I was not. I was just about to call him. I'm happy that I don't have to. Well, the game's in 2 days, so he might have gotten tickets for Houston. That would be my guess, that he's going to 2 games in Houston and going home. I mean, he's been here for a few days. I mean, this ain't cheap unless the guy's got a lot of dough. This ain't a cheap trip. Do you need me to send him a text to see if he got the link?
I'm texting him right now.
What's my pay, Left Twix? I already said on the air that I know you're just joining us. I said I lost the bet. What do I have to do? What did I say? I don't know. I do 4 hours a day, bro. I can't remember everything I said. Yeah, I would, bro. Because my daughter calls me that enough that it's now part of my vernacular again.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Dave McCarthy scheduled to join us 1 hour from now. We'll try to put the hockey season to bed with the Canes skating around with Lord Stanley for just the second time in their history.
Thought it was great that Jordan Stahl gave it to Freddie Anderson next. And I give Emily Kaplan credit for asking the question, David. Who are you going to give the cup to? I mean, that's a great question. I thought he would say that was going to be a surprise, but he answered it and then did what he said.
Classy move, and you expect nothing less from hockey players. But, Freddie wasn't even dressed. He was technically the third goalie. He wasn't even dressed. And they made sure in the final minutes that they sent Freddie into the locker room and said, hey, get your uniform and skates on, baby.
That's a thing that's happened in the last, 10, 15 years, where the guys because you used to always see guys at the end grab the cup in their suit, because they would just come out on the ice. And in the last decade, maybe a little longer than that, the players who did not dress come out in full gear. But yes, and I don't even know, for Game 5, Anderson was the fourth goalie, because they brought up their American League goalie to me, the emergency backup. And I don't know if that was the case in Game 6 or not. But yes, Freddie Anderson, who did not dress, was in uniform when he got the cup.
Keith Smith, kind enough to join us. He's joined us for many a year, always on the phone. We can now see Keith in his cozy confines. Okay. He told us, he said, hey, I'm done, with, school trips to and from. So I'm going to be sitting home on my butt. Let's do this via video. Keith Smith, NBA, is how you follow him on X. Okay, Keith, first off, thank you very much for doing this for many a year and helping us out, cover the association. Secondly, I ask this as a Knicks fan, and with all due respect, what the hell just happened?
I'm still trying to figure it out a few days later. Here, what a remarkable way to win a championship. They were down in all the games and all the comebacks and everything. And in the comebacks, even in the earlier round against Cleveland, it's just this team had that I don't want to go too deep into cliches, but that's the best way to describe them. They had that never say die attitude and just kept grinding and pulled it out. I mean, just a really remarkable run by the Knicks and a well-earned championship.
And what they were able to do, Keith, away from home it has to be talked about, because obviously they went on a run of winning all these games. But for years, and we had Tim Hardaway on last week who talked about, hey, guys love going to the Garden, man. We loved, and it's a known fact. Every player loves to go to Madison Square Garden. But for the Knicks to be as good as they were on the road, of all of the things that they accomplished, I think that's the one that's probably being talked about the least. I think they won 9 straight on the road, right, Keith? That's an NBA. That's a record in the playoffs, I believe.
Yeah, and if I have this correct, I think they closed out all 4 series on the road as well, which is you don't usually see that. And often what we see in their situation up 3-1 felt pretty good that they were probably going to win the title. A lot of times we see the teams take their foot off the gas in game 5 because they know, hey, we're going home. Let's finish this thing at home in front of the home fans. And they absolutely didn't. They said, nope, we're going to go. We're going to get this thing done now. And we'll see the home fans when we get back there and have a parade. So, I mean, just, yeah, a really special team. And it's somewhat of a caught lightning in a bottle factor, but we haven't seen a repeat champion in 8 years. So let's see if they can get it done next year. But I mean, they're just, something else, and they're going to enjoy that celebration here later this week.
With the parade scheduled for Thursday, Keith Smith covers the association for Spot Rack. Also, he's part of YouTube's NBA front office show. Follow him on X at Keith Smith NBA. Keith Smith NBA. How does a team go from being able to put away Oklahoma City on the road and then put themselves in numerous opportunities to be able to put the Knicks away and literally could barely do it once?
Yeah, it's someone who covered the Boston Celtics for a long time. I have a lot of experience with not being able to finish and close games. Unfortunately, that's what it was. They just, whether it was youth, I think they were clearly, I think the Oklahoma City series took a lot out of them. I think they were a little weary on their legs. I'm not making excuses for them because that's something they have to figure out. If you want to win a championship, you got to be able to get there and finish it in June. So I think, and the fact that the Knicks just at no point, even down 29 in what was that, game 4, they at no point said, all right, enough, like just punt it, we'll move on to the next game and we'll figure it out. The fact that they just kept coming, I don't want to take anything away from them either. They never like stepped away. So it's a combination of factors. And I think for the Spurs, De'Aaron Fox obviously wasn't himself, couldn't get the guys where they needed to be. Mitch Johnson had some stumbles along the way with rotational stuff, but yeah, and it's what's kind of worrisome to me today is they'll be back. They're young. They'll be back. Look at that Oklahoma City Thunder team with Durant and Harden and Westbrook. We all said, well, they'll be back. That group never made it back. Nothing is guaranteed, no matter how young you are.
And Denver, and obviously an older team and some changes happened there. But 3 years ago, Denver with the best player in the league. Well, they'll be back. They haven't been back yet either. So as what you just said, I think we could talk about a bunch of teams. So, all right, if you are San Antonio, what would you, if you're running San Antonio right now, would you make any changes? Would you, what is it that you would do to help this team so that they win the last game? Because we know they're young. Obviously, Wemby might be the face of this game for a while. What would you do with this team, Keith?
Yeah, you want to be really careful not to overreact too much, because at the end of the day, I know I just said maybe they don't make it back, but they are ahead of schedule. This is a team that is really good. They were, these series games were really, really close. The Knicks won by, if you add it all up total, a very small margin, even though it was a 4-1 series. So that's kind of a rarity as well. So I don't want to go too crazy on, well, we got to trade De'Aaron Fox and we got to fire the coach, and a lot of stuff that's being said today feels reactionary. That feels like that's coming from the pain and the hurt in the moment. So I really want, if I'm the Spurs, I'm going to look to retool parts of my rotation. You got to get more size on the roster. I know that sounds crazy when the main guy's 7'5", but it's the guys around him are all wings and guards. Like, you need someone who's true forward size. Harrison Barnes is either aged out or just isn't a right fit for them anymore. So, let's see what they do in free agency. They've got the flexibility to do that. And then obviously your backcourt of the future is Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle. So if you can find a right deal for De'Aaron Fox, then maybe you make that. And that's how you kind of reshape the rest of the roster. But I'm not certainly going into the summer saying I must get off this contract and fire the coach and all those kind of things. That just feels crazy to me.
Has Wemby been a punk for 3 years and we just didn't notice? Because, or was it the heightened in the finals? Everything is noticed because he came across as a bit of a punk. I'm not going to call him dirty, but man, he was an unlikable punk numerous times in that series.
Yeah, I think what happened was it started in the prior series. He has history with Chet Holmgren and does not like him. That is very, very clear that he's going to do everything he can to destroy Chet Holmgren every time he plays against him. So I think that started kind of the ball rolling down the hill of like, what's the deal with this guy? And then in the finals, what I'm going to give him some slack on is, I think we have to remember he's 22 years old. Like, he's far from whatever he's going to be. And there were definitely moments of immaturity and moments of where he reacted. And I think what we saw as the playoffs went along as well, teams were getting more and more physical with him. They were pushing him. They were hitting him off the ball and all those things. And I think eventually, at his age and with the pressure on him and his team, he broke a little and started to hit back and do some stuff that seems a little out of bounds. So it's, but it's like, I want to see where he goes from here. Let's see how he grows, because it's, he called this was all learning lessons for him in this run, and let's see what he does with it. And every time so far, he's come back a better player and better person on the back end. But yeah, he definitely took a bit of a hit.
All right. The two big players that are going to get talked about in the offseason that didn't play for either team are this LeBron guy and this Giannis guy. If I were to have you set odds of where you think they're going to be, where do you see those two playing next year?
Yeah, I'll start with Giannis because that one is a little bit easier. I think he's going to be on the Heat. I think Miami has been setting up for this for a while. I think they're going to continue to drive this forward, and I think that's how this will probably get done. At the end of the day, I know there's a lot of swirl around Boston. Maybe they do parachute in and decide it's time to break up Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and go get Giannis. Brad Stevens post season comments about needing to play differently and put more pressure on the rim certainly would lead in that direction. And then I'm not going to rule out some third team that no one's talking about kind of comes in and grabs them for themselves. We'll see. And then for LeBron, it does feel like we're closer to the end of his run with the Lakers than we ever have been. My challenge is he's not going to go to Cleveland and play for the minimum. He's not going to go there and play for $5 million, I don't think. So then that becomes, is LeBron going to go to the Warriors for like 15 million? Is there some kind of trade that the Lakers can find, sign and trade transaction that works for them as well? So because of that, I'm going to lean just very slightly that he's back to the Lakers, and we're kind of doing this whole song and dance again a year from now, because I don't think LeBron's anywhere close to being done. I think he's got plenty left in the tank, and which is just remarkable in and of itself.
Yes, it is. But I have to admit, I think the entire NBA world is totally bored by the LeBron Lakers story. Okay. I think all sides need a different outcome. Hey, I'm going to throw this out there. Wemby needs somebody to protect him. Okay, he needs somebody. He needs James Edwards from the old school Pistons. Okay, I'm serious. If
Yeah.
I was San Antonio, first off, Wemby's got to stop playing beyond the arc. I got to get him below the free throw line. But secondly, how about Hartenstein? Somebody to go in there, be his protector for 30 minutes a game. He'll get his 14 points, 10 rebounds, take a load off him. And if I was San Antonio, that's what I would do. I would get two guys who would protect him. You know, Mark and I are big hockey guys. We all know when you got a star, you got to protect the star. On the Spurs, you got to protect this guy.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's funny in the NBA. The NBA I grew up on, you always had that, right? The Bulls had Charles Oakley when Michael Jordan was a young guy, and it was you knock Michael Jordan down, Charles Oakley's going to knock you down on the other end of the floor, knock your star guy down on the other end of the floor. We've seen a lot of that come out of basketball, and I think a big part of it is almost all these guys grow up together from the time they're 7, 8 years old, playing AAU together. They all like each other. They all know, hey, we're all, 100 millionaires here. Like, what are we doing? Like, let's not end anybody's career. But Wemby's a little bit different. He didn't grow up with all these guys. He is, different in that sense. Yeah. And if you're the Spurs, you definitely need somebody in there who, when he is getting knocked around, is going to, you just put him in and the other team's like, oh, we know why this guy's coming in the game. Maybe Hartenstein, he might be a little too good for that kind of role, but somebody, in that vein. And there are still a handful of guys that do that across the league. And I think that would be, at least beneficial for them to have that kind of guy on the roster where it is, hey, like the reason this guy is here is he's going to knock some people around if you get a little overly physical with our star.
Got less than a minute, but with the draft coming up and free agency, this is not a great free agent class. This is an exceptional draft class. Best draft since
probably about, what is that, 2-3 classes ago. The ones like not Wemby's class, Cooper Flagg's class was pretty good last year. Pretty deep throughout. So this draft class though is going to be really, really good. And it better be, because the ones after this for a few years don't look so hot. It looks like it's going to be a little devoid of talent. So we'll see how all the NIL stuff and draft lottery reform changes. But yeah, we're there.
NBA's YouTube front office show, Spot Rack. He's Keith Smith. Follow him on X, Keith Smith NBA, Keith Smith NBA. Hey, Keith, as always, thanks for everything. We'll bug you in and around the draft.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me.
Keith Smith NBA, that's how you follow him on X. And if you joined us on Twitch, YouTube, you got to see him.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating
The
needs.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
No!
This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio, with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes alive.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, he married a Southern girl. She's way out of his league. She's a good-looking lady. But she made him quit smoking. He can't drink as much. I don't know. If I'm at 60 and not married, I'm not changing my game. But that's just me, Puck. Good dude, though. I like Andy. Plus, he says a certain four-letter word that Brits say all the time, and it makes me smile. I love that men and women use that word as much as we use the F word in this country. It makes me smile. I'm sorry. And the fact that they put ish on the back end of it is even better. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And we're just past the halfway point of Miller at Moulton, at least in the places that take us for all 4 hours, like Tampa St. Pete and Jacksonville, one or two others along the way. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X.
So, David, you mentioned obviously a couple of times your Knicks. And I did see an article. And obviously, New York has won championships, a lot of them, since 73. But the cities, David, that haven't won a championships in a while. Now, we start with San Diego, and it's not really fair because they only have one team. And their Chargers are the last team that won a title. They won an AFL title in 1963. Padres lost the series in 84 against my Tigers and lost again in 98. The Bills in Buffalo, again, now just a two-team town. The Bills won AFL titles, but not since 1965.
Right.
Portland, the Blazers, that's it. They won in 77. Calgary, the Flames, they won in 89. Edmonton in 90. But teams that have multiple, or towns that have at least multiple teams. Cincinnati, 1990, since the Reds' last World Series. Minneapolis, St. Paul, 91 for the Twins. Nothing else. Montreal in 93. Phoenix, 2001. Suns have never got one, which does stink for that town because that's their team. Really and truly, and I know Miami has become a Heat town. It has, because they've been better. But the Dolphins are Miami's team, and the fact that it's been so long for them stinks for Miami. Then you go to Indianapolis in 06. Anaheim in 07. Detroit in 08. It's been 18 years since the Red Wings won a title. Obviously, the Lions haven't won since 57. Tigers since 84. New Orleans in 09. But Baltimore is now 14 years without a title. San Antonio, many thought this was going to be the year. 2014. The Cavs won 10 years ago. The Cubs 10 years ago. And the Penguins 9 years ago. So everybody else is 8 years and in. But Cincinnati, David, 1990. There's your city. There's your, and obviously Buffalo's first on the list. But as far as needing a parade. San Diego, that's a tough one. I mean, you're in the same division as the damn Dodgers. And now with new ownership, will you continue to spend? Because the fans have shown up. We've talked about this. Their fan support is terrific for the Padres. But you're lining it up for one team.
41,500 a night, 81 times a year. I mean, do the math here. And they got a lot of people coming through the turnstiles. They got a lot of cash flow, but nobody's got the Dodgers cash flow.
Nobody.
I mean, they can put a good team on the field. They can keep a good team on the field. But in theory, the other guys have their act together. The team they put on the field should be better. It doesn't guarantee us anything. Can I, along these lines, but also a little different, at what point, because all the other sports seemingly at some point during the season, the people who cover the sport do a power poll of some kind. Can I ask you, entering the playoffs, NBA, where would the Knicks have been ranked?
Well,
League-wide power poll.
league-wide, I think Oklahoma City and San Antonio would have been 1 and 2.
Okay.
I think the Celtics were probably 3.
Okay.
Then to me, there's a group of teams. At best, the Knicks would have been 4.
Okay.
I don't think Detroit would have been ahead of them. I don't. They were the 1 seed, but I don't think, and the Knicks were the 3. So who was the 3? Was Denver the 3 in the West?
I think technically they were.
Yeah, and they lost to the T-Wolves, right?
I believe so, yes. Again.
And they played San Antonio. So I think it would have been either Denver or the Knicks.
Okay, so
I think that's fair. 4 or 5. Does that sound about right?
Right. My point was that, we have a lot of sports like college football. Well, I can just tell by watching. I know who the best teams are. I've been watching it all year. Mark, when the playoffs began, anybody pick the Knicks?
No.
Anybody at all? One person. Anybody out there remember somebody nationally? Not your cousin Tony. Okay. Anybody out there remember anybody pick the Knicks?
Quick sidebar for 5 seconds. Just saw a video on TikTok. Yes, I have a problem of Gen X names that are no longer used. Tony was a name they had on there. That's you're in the right age group, and you're talking to the right age group, David. I'm not knocking you for what you said at all.
Right.
But think about it. When you go to your kid or your grandkid's game, you know who's not at the plate? You know who's not kicking the soccer ball? Tony. You know why? There aren't any. Okay, go on.
Now I'm going back to, what the Spurs need to get Wemby? A Tony. That's what they need to get him.
They had an Andrew Tony. He just didn't make enough shots in the second half. And maybe if Fox would have dribbled around instead of trying to make a layup. There's a couple of things there. So
love the Boston Strangler. Anytime you want to go Andrew Tony, let me know.
All right. So, for that matter, David, if we would have done a power poll in hockey and Carolina was good, I don't think they would have been higher than 3.
I'm not sure that they would have 3 or 4. Okay, I do think they would have been a touch higher than the Knicks only because of hockey's playoff format. Okay,
no, we thought they were walking to the conference final.
Right. If you're not a hockey fan, Carolina had a really easy, it turns out they went 8-0, road to the conference final. And then when they got there, the team they faced was whooped. So they went 12-1 to get to the final. But so maybe Carolina has a slightly better chance. I think they had the 3rd or 4th best record in the league. The Knicks had like 52 wins. They were in no way a great team at any point during the regular season. There wasn't a single week, Mark. Like if the NBA were college football, at any point in time during the season, would the Knicks even have been ranked 3rd? You know what I'm getting at? So, this whole eyeball test thing, we got to ditch it, man. We got to totally ditch it. It's garbage. Garbage. All right. I digress.
Getting ready for college football. I like you laying the foundation for the college football season by using the Knicks. I do. And it's not a knock. I actually like that.
Well, I also like using the college baseball tournament. That's just played itself out. Now, I don't know if we're ever going to get one of these again, because what we've just gotten at the highest level of college baseball is we've gotten what we used to have in college basketball, the mid-majors. The mid-majors had an awakening. What is happening, though, is that all the guys who stayed at Troy who have eligibility left, yeah, they're all going to be bought and paid for by some SEC school. And that's where they're going to be playing next year. So you get one run out of them, but at least you're getting one run. We don't even think we're going to get that in college basketball anymore. But in all honesty, can you make the case, or is it too much apples and oranges, Mark? Why not a 2014 college football field? Really? Really, it's going to ruin the sport. It's going to ruin the sport more than what's going on in Lubbock, Texas. Really? I mean, seriously, come on.
David, it's not going to ruin the sport, okay? And we are going to more than likely get there at some point. Although the good news is Petiti and Sankey are still so far apart that we're going to keep this sucker at 12 for a while. I mean, that to me is the good news. It really is. The problem is, and I do love when we had Bill Bender on the show a while back, and Bill talked about all of the regular season games. If you were to ask him to rank his top 20 regular season games, he could do it off the top of his head. And he feels that if we go to a deeper playoff, we will take some of that away. And it's hard to argue with him. I'm not saying the sport will be ruined, David. It's not at all what I'm saying. Will it be as good? Will the regular season be as good? Nope. Will the playoff become better? Possibly. Do you need it for the sport to grow? I would argue that you don't. I think where they're at right now, even though we know they're not going to stay there, is about perfect. Because now, I've been listening to Bud Elliott's summer schools as much as I can. And I happened to listen to USC when I was on the treadmill on Saturday morning. And they play a 6-game run that's pretty tough. It's Oregon, Washington, Penn State, Ohio State, Indiana, and I forgot who the other team was. I think it's Wisconsin. And it's a pretty good 6-game run after like 4 duds, and then they finish with 2 easy games. And he just flat out said to the guy that covers USC, they get in at 9-3. Are they a playoff team at 9-3? And I don't have a problem with that. Now, whether you think they are or aren't is not really what I want to discuss. What I am saying is at 12, it's a discussion. At 24, they're in. In. Doesn't matter which 3 they lose. They're in. Write it down. So that's my only thought when we get to 24. It will take away from the. Will it ruin college football? Hell no, David. It won't ruin it. Will I like it as much? I don't know. We'll see. Does it need it? Absolutely not.
And I think it'll make it better. I think we'll have more matchups. I mean, hell, we had a team who didn't make the playoff last year. It might have won it if they were allowed in.
But they would have been allowed in with 16. I don't think we need to go to 24.
Fair
and
enough.
We're going to.
Fair enough. But so a few things there, kicking it around. Miller and Moulton. Dave McCarthy talking pucks in 25 minutes.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Core-Tech and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Ambient, it's 01, and I just said it. Literally just did a segment on it. And that's where I giggle because you guys, I love.
Well, he said like 2 minutes earlier he had gone away.
No, he said he was on the YouTube chat.
Gotcha.
He goes back and forth from one to the other because I don't know. Because he likes to have conversations with people to talk about our show, but sometimes not listen to it. That's all right. Whatever. I can't care anymore. Oh, you're coming in too, huh? What up? Yeah. I opened the blinds in here, which I don't know if that glares bad, David, on my face. I could close them, but I have both cats in here looking out the window, and I think they're enjoying it more than the little glares bothering anybody.
Sounds good to me.
A lot of questions about the Dutch coach, David. A lot of questions about his substitutions. That's my pick, by the way. It was down to 5. They always, how they do like the Masters and the U.S. Open based on this. Here's who's going to win. They did one for the World Cup in the Athletic, and it was 5 nations, and they had all the criteria. I don't remember who everybody was. I want to say Spain and France were both on it, and they're obviously the favorites. But Netherlands were on there. Brazil was not. It was, because all these different criterias, but I picked the Netherlands out of the 5. And to find that article again would be next to impossible.
Thank you, Sonny.
I mean, he was borderline as a player, but not a Hall of Famer as a player. Now I don't know if they separate them, Enzo, as player and coach, or if they would put him in as, if it's a combined thing, yes. But if it's, I don't know if he goes in as either, like just a coach or just a player. So I don't know. I don't know what their criteria is. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Dave McCarthy in a little more than 15 minutes time. You're on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. If you're just joining us, and obviously you can hear it in my voice, the reason that I was gone the last 2 weeks is something that, I had made a conscious decision about, and Mark supported me. I had kidney cancer 6 years ago, lost my kidney, left kidney, lost some stuff around it, and it stayed away for 4 years. They said, probably going to come back. And in the fall of 2024, it came back. So I had only missed 3 days of work, though, in 2 years. And I just felt that, hey, if it's not something that's causing me to miss the show, no need to, burden you with it. But the minute I start missing time with the show out of respect, you all should know what's going on. It actually went into the decision making that Mark made, because the thought was Mark was going to go to Tampa and he was going to be gone for most of the month of February. And next thing you know, the folks at Moffitt were like, well, no, he can do Monday. He was like, what? And so then it was like, well, there's a new background, and why am I in Tampa? Why am I going to be here 3 months? The audience deserves to know. So Mark told you, and then I kept it to myself. But then obviously I just spent a decent amount of the last 2 weeks in the hospital, and you deserve to know why. So cancer came back. It's problematic. Ask those who have cancer. It can be a pain. And it is clearly affecting my voice, where the cancer is, and it's near a couple of things, and it doesn't allow me to talk the way I used to. But I sound, it's like the person that has the really bad cold. I sound worse than I am. And fortunately,
really? You've got cancer. Do you sound worse than you are?
Oh, now that you...
I hate to do this to you, David, but relatively, you may sound better than you. We don't really know.
Oh, now that you frame it that way.
You sound about how you are, unfortunately.
God, I hate when you're right about things like this, too.
Jesus.
I mean, this isn't debating the Texas Tech quarterback. I don't mind being wrong about that, but son of a blank, you might be right. So anyway, don't be alarmed by my voice. Want to be alarmed about me having cancer again? Fine. Don't be alarmed by the voice. It doesn't hurt. Okay. It may hurt for you to listen to it, but it doesn't hurt for me to talk. So anyway, but that's why I was gone. And for those that have said, welcome back, it's great to be back. Listen, I don't know if you, the listener, have noticed. Mark, I don't even know if you've noticed today, but I haven't brought up a lot of topics. And usually I bring up a lot of topics. But I did so because I was gone for 10 shows. I mean, I don't know what you guys talked about, and I'm assuming that there's probably nothing I could bring up that you haven't talked about.
Wait a minute. You didn't listen while you were gone? Son of a... This is where it pisses me off that you got off X. You didn't even know who the guests were.
That's not true.
I had to let him know yesterday, talking back and forth, and I just said, hey, here's kind of who we've had, what we've done, because I didn't want to. We do have a lot of the same guests, but I'm like, hey, we didn't have Keith on all week last week. So we could go that way for basketball.
No. I got your 5:50 a.m. I knew what the guest list. Every time I woke up, I knew who was going to be on the show.
How?
I just go to the Miller_Moulton,
Oh,
X
so you went
feed.
to the X account. All right. Well, hey, I didn't know.
That's the only reason I go there. I'm just curious. Hey, who's on the show today? Pretty good show. Hope it went well. I roll over. Okay. But anyway, what I didn't want was 4 hours of this. Me bringing up a topic and Mark going, oh, yeah, we talked about that Wednesday. Oh, yeah, me bringing up this. Yeah, that was 2 Tuesdays ago. So I didn't want the whole show to be, you know, we didn't wait for you to talk about what was going on in the sports world, idiot. Okay, we had to do shows.
I appreciate that, by the way.
I'm just curious about one thing, because I think the news broke late last week. And I was just wondering, we talk money on this show a lot. Did we bring up how much the new swamp is going to cost?
We did. I brought it up in the starting five. Didn't do much else on it besides that. I did point out that USF, South Florida, could build 3 of their stadiums for what it is costing to revamp the swamp. It is slightly less than what the entire build of the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta cost a little less than 10 years ago. That's a dome stadium where the seats vibrate. Yes, 1.45 billion for the renovation of the swamp.
Now, we go back 2 years on this, in which we said they got a real dilemma, to say the least, because this was going to be one of those projects that was going to cost more to renovate than to knock down and build from scratch.
But the one thing you can't do in the SEC is knock down and start from scratch. It's the swamp, after all. It's Ben Hill Griffith Stadium. It's Stanford Stadium. It's Jordan Hare. These are cathedrals, David, and we know that. This is the difference between college football and the National Football League. The NFL fan doesn't give a damn. I mean, they're gonna move from Soldier Field. I mean, come on. I mean, outside of Lambeau, there aren't many others. Three Rivers, blow that sucker up. Give me a new one. They didn't care.
But we talked about it 2 years ago. We talked about it 12 months ago, that the cost to stay was going to be 300 to 500 million more than to just blow it up and start over, for goodness sakes. And, I didn't even look at the specifics. Like, are we reducing capacity for more suites?
No. Capacity will stay the same. The as they call them, the winged walls will remain. They are going to add premium seating and suites and those things, but the capacity will stay the same. This is the scary part to me, David. While just adding some premium seating, okay? They're keeping the capacity the same. From the way I read it, is that the majority of the work is being done at like entrances and the concourse and things like that. 1.45 billion.
Well, a majority of the work is keeping the damn thing upright. I mean, they're right. I mean, they don't want you to feel unsafe for the next few years when you come to Gators games, but it's 100 years old. I mean, it's got some cracks. Did they say, by the way, like, are they playing there the whole time?
That they did not say anything of the sort one way or another, at least in what I read. David, what I found the most remarkable thing about it is that when it said Strickland made his proposal to the board or whatever, there was nobody that batted an eye from the way I read it. Oh, 1.45 billion? Oh, okay. And think about it. We're asking for $40 million to field a football team these days. And I know the Gators aren't there, but they want to be. They want to be good enough to have to spend $40 million on their team. They just spent a boatload of money to keep their basketball team and get a bunch of other players, so they're the preseason number one. That doesn't get into coaching. And oh, by the way, we need $1.5 billion to renovate the football stadium. And I haven't heard one person say anything other than, okay.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
There might be a slight glare on Secretariat, but the cats are very happy with the idea that they can come in the room and look out the window, just for what it's worth. Big Red's got a little glare on him. My side of my face does too, but you deal with it. I could close it, but who knows? Oh, crud. Not crud, but I should have done this earlier. A little behind.
Thank you, SEC me.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. He covers the NHL for a living. He writes about it at NHL.com. He hosts Sunday Brunch. And he also hosts Ice Cap on Sirius XM NHL Radio. And you can see him on NHL Network, the television network. He's Dave McCarthy. Follow him on X at Dave, the letter A McCarthy. Dave A. McCarthy. Dave, it's David and Mark. Good morning. Congratulations to the Canes. How are you?
All right. Well, vamp for a second, David, because I don't know why it's
Okay.
not working.
Well, it's probably my presence.
No, it's not.
Because I'm guessing it worked flawlessly for 2 weeks. And then once I came back, Shazam. But we'll hook back up with Dave McCarthy here coming up momentarily. We put a wrap on both the NBA and NHL regular and postseasons today. We had Keith Smith on last hour to talk the association. And Dave McCarthy joins us now to talk pucks.
You got me, Dave?
I got you guys.
All
You
right.
got me?
There we go. Absolutely.
Beautiful.
So this goaltender story, I mean, every team's got stories and sub-stories. And so how far back do we have to go? Okay, a guy who had never played a second of playoff hockey, and it's not like they tapped him on the shoulder when the playoffs started. They tapped him on the shoulder before the third period of Game 3 of the finals and said, well, go in there and see what you could do. I mean, where's this rank?
Well, it's got to rank right up there. What Brandon Bussey did was really impressive. And look, I mean, I thought it was really smart that they got him some minutes there earlier on in the series when he came on to relieve in the third period. And this was a guy that really, he hadn't played hockey in 2 months. Freddie Anderson had been incredible through the first 3.5 rounds of the playoffs. He had given Rod no reason to take him out of the net. But what happened was that Freddie Anderson ultimately admitted last night, tweaked his knee to an extent in game 2. Tried to grind through it in game 3 and ultimately was not able to do so. And so they had to turn to Brandon Bussey. But it was a guy who they had confidence in going to because he had a great regular season. Now, it's wild because he's 27 years old. He'd never played a game in the NHL up until this season. And he was so good during the regular season. I think he went 31-6-2, something like that. But he's so old, he was ineligible for the Rookie of the Year, the Calder Trophy. So I was, I was a little worried, I guess, when they had to turn to him. One, inexperienced. Two, you're talking about a big stage to come in on, Stanley Cup final. And 3, he hadn't played in 2 months, but man, did he ever deliver. And he just, quite frankly, out-goaltended Carter Hart in the later portion of that series. He was outstanding last night. What a night to have the game of your life. And that's exactly what he did last night, Brandon Bussey.
Yeah, I thought he was good. I thought he was great when he came in relief. I thought he was good in the next game, and Vegas may have helped him a little bit. He was superb last night. But on the other side, I thought they made a great point. On the first goal especially, and I think it might have been the third goal in game 5, that Carter Hart, there were saves that he needed to make for Vegas. And he wasn't bad, but he, to me, never made the big save that they needed. And at the end of the day, they needed their goalie to be great. And he wasn't. He was fine, but I don't think he was great in the series, Dave.
No, I completely agree with you. At this time of the year, one goalie raises his level of play above the guy at the other end of the ice. And this year it turned out to be Brandon Bussey. Like when Freddie was in the series at the beginning, and Carter Hart, I agree with you, Mark. The goaltending wasn't bad, but it wasn't elite either. It was just okay at best. And what generally needs to happen is for one guy to elevate his play. And when Brandon Bussey came on in relief and then took over the net, he out goaltended Carter Hart. He was able to make all of the stops that he needed to make and a few extra that make the difference. Ones that, you wouldn't really fault the goalie, but man, he come up with a save there. Now you're really cooking. Like the scramble at the end of the first period, that sliding save on Dorofeev on the one-timer on the power play. No one's going to fault it if that goes in the net, really. But instead of being 1-1 at the end of 20 minutes, now it's 1-0. And I thought from that point on, in the second period, Carolina really got to their game again and slowly started to suffocate Vegas out of the game. And I think that was the difference. The first goal that Carolina scored, coming into that game, a lot of questions of should they turn Vegas to Aiden Hill. John Tortorella stuck with Carter Hart, 3:47 in the game,
last
give up
customer
a
service
goal.
meltdown.
Where it's like, you need to stop there, right? And just over the pad, just under the glove, kind of deflated the building so early in the game. Now that the Golden Knights are chasing it. So, not a terrible goal, but one where you'd like Carter Hart to come up with a save. He couldn't. And throughout the game, in game 6, Brandon Bussey was able to do so.
Is it all Carter Hart? Or, the one thing I would love to pull towards the side and say, hey, give me an honest answer. How the hell could you shut down the Avs? Shut down the Avs and give up 4 goals a game over 2 weeks to the Hurricanes? Could you just tell me what happened? Because I don't think we can blame all of that on Carter Hart. This is the beauty of the game, isn't it? My goodness. The Avs were the best team in the league by far. They couldn't score 2 goals a game against Vegas. And Vegas couldn't keep Carolina from scoring less than 4.
Well, a couple of things. One, Carter Hart played much better in the Western Conference Final than he did in the Stanley Cup Final. He was making those extra saves. Two, Colorado was a banged-up team. Like, they were not themselves. Nathan McKinnon, midway through the series, got banged up. Cale Makar was extremely limited once he got back into the series. Marty Necas played poorly, quite honestly. Brock Nelson was not very good. Nazem Kadri didn't make a difference. And so Colorado's top players kind of dipped a little bit in that series. For Carolina, one, they were healthy. That was a big thing. Rod Brindamore spent time talking about that, which was not always the case in some of their previous runs. The fact that they were healthy was big because they were able to play at the top of their level. So that helped. And I thought after game one, Carolina made some adjustments because Vegas was the better team in game one. Carolina was able to make some adjustments, and they were able to get to their game a little bit more quickly than Vegas. They limited turnovers. I thought it was like turnover central early in the series. Carolina stopped turning the puck over. Vegas didn't, and then when you saw Carolina at times later in the series, in game 5 and 6 predominantly, it's just their relentless forecheck, their pressure that wears you down and forces you into mistakes. And then when you make mistakes, Carolina's a team that's able to capitalize. So I think a number of different reasons, but I think it just goes to show how good of a team Carolina really is when they're at their game. And, we saw it certainly, I think, in game 5 and 6.
Well, and to your point, Dave, I think if you'd have gone into the series and said that Aho's line wouldn't really do much, and they finally did in game 5, but you know my point. I mean, the two best players, at least on paper, weren't having a great series. And I have no problem. I thought I would have voted for Jordan Staal to get the Conn Smythe. But if to me, you look at, Jackson Blake, 7 goals. Taylor Hall scored last night. Ehlers ended up with 8 goals. I thought Gotzitzbeer was completely unsung in this. From a team standpoint, they needed everybody. I mean, this Carolina team proved that they were 4 lines deep. They were 6 defensemen, and obviously ended up being 2 goaltenders. From a team effort, this is, I don't know about unprecedented, Dave, but this was something that we don't normally see, just the distribution of scoring and how deep Carolina was at the end of the day.
And that's pretty darn close to historic, really, because you're right. They don't have a team of superstars. They have a team of very good players, all of them, who all commit to the way in which they're asked to play. And that's a difficult thing to do sometimes. You don't always get that. Rod Brindamore talked about it last night. The easiest job on the planet, because he sets the system and every single one of the guys buys in. And so throughout the playoffs, you saw Logan Stankoven, Taylor Hall, Jackson Blake line. They really led the way for the first 2 into the 3rd round, right? So that bought Aho and Svechnikov some time. And then Svech had a goal in the Eastern Conference Final. Nikolai Ehlers along the way was able to chip in. And then what that did is it bought them all time for Aho and Svechnikov to have a signature moment in Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final, when they quite frankly outplayed Vegas's top players, and then that led them to where they were last night. They were able to deliver again, and so I was really impressed how that group played as a team, and I think it just goes to show you there's so many different ways to build a team. To win a Stanley Cup, it doesn't need to just be 3 or 4 star players or whatever it is. You can win if you master a team approach, and I think that's really what Carolina's ability was, and that's what they were able to do to win that Stanley Cup is really get the most out of every single one of the guys on that team, and it was really impressive to watch.
Whether he's hosting Ice Cap or Sunday Brunch, whether he's writing for NHL.com or whether he's appearing on the NHL television network, he's Dave McCarthy. Follow him on X at Dave, the letter A, McCarthy, Dave A. McCarthy. Okay, so, What's the moral of the story that we all take into the draft in 11 days and into next season? Do we take anything from this year, or do we wipe it all clean and go, well, that was fun?
Well, look, I think we really were treated to a tremendous Stanley Cup final. Like all of the games were highly, highly entertaining. If you were not a fan specifically of Carolina or Vegas and you just were a hockey fan, can't come away from that series suggesting that you were not entertained. So I think that was really fun. Just as a hockey fan, we got treated to 2 weeks of outstanding hockey. The moral of the story, look, I think there's, like I said, there's multiple ways to build a championship team. And maybe it'll force some teams to reevaluate their approach and say, okay, we prioritize, 3 or 4 or 5 stars. Well, maybe we need to make sure the rest of our team has some depth to it, so that if those guys aren't going, we've got somebody else that can deliver here and there. And I think some teams lack that. A team that I cover on a daily basis, the Toronto Maple Leafs, they lack that depth. If Matthews and Nylander and Tavares are not scoring, generally they're not scoring. And so, they need to upgrade in that area. I think Carolina proved it. You need 4 lines that can go out every single shift and make something happen, whether that's scoring a goal, whether that's getting the puck in deep, establishing a forecheck, forcing the opponent to cover the puck. You get an offensive zone face-off. Now you can put your top guys on. Now maybe they can go to work, but it was all started by a real good shift from the 3rd or 4th line, something of that nature, right? I think it just goes to show there's so much importance in having depth, and I think that was really proven this year from Carolina.
We've got less than a minute, so in 30 seconds, I'm getting greedy. I'm a Wings fan. Dylan Larkin in October, is he still a Red Wing? And if not, who's he playing for?
I would be surprised if he is. They can't give him away, but you don't want it to turn acrimonious and to be really awkward. You generally don't want guys that don't want to be there anymore. I think it's best for both sides if they make something happen. In order for that to happen, I think Dylan Larkin's going to need to expand his list of acceptable destinations. I think Minnesota is where he probably ends up. I think that's where they need an extra center. I think Bill Guerin knows him from the Olympics. He's aggressive. Do they have the package to get him? That'll be interesting. They're a little lean right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up in Minnesota somehow.
He's Dave McCarthy, covers the NHL for NHL Network Sirius NHL Radio on Miller and Moulton.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave. Be best. Be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
No!
This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio, with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes alive.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Core-Tech and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.
For the most part, I think they're going to run it back, RCB. I really do. I don't know. I mean, you know, you tell me, where's Hedman at for next year? I have no idea. By the way, fun fact, David, when they got, when Kucherov there got the Hart, it's the first time since 76, 77 that one team has won 3 awards. It was the Habs with Jacques Demers, Ken Dryden, Guy Lafleur, and they won a 4th because Robinson won the Norris as well. And that's back when the Vezina was a team award. So it was both goalies, but it was...
That's right. It was Michel Bonnet-Larac.
There you go.
Hold on a second. I thought Bowman was the coach.
I'm sorry. What did I say? Demers? I apologize. Scotty Bowman. Yeah, I apologize. I said the wrong guy.
So Robinson wins the Norris.
Lafleur wins the Hart.
Adams.
Yeah.
Lafleur wins the Hart.
And Dryden and whatever they're
the Vezina. Okay.
They weren't very good.
No, God, no.
But you know, RCB, what's his now? I'm just in a blank right now. The defenseman that had the great playoff,
Slavin.
No. For Tampa, had the great season rather for Tampa. Radish. You know, he's a free agent now. I think they'll be able to get him, but he could get paid on the open market. Paid. And he had the season of his life. And if I'm Tampa, I'm reluctant to match that because I don't know if that's a one-off. But if Hedman comes back at 70% of what Hedman's been, now you got Hedman quarterback in the power play, Radish on your second unit, then, you know, and they'll probably make some tweaks with the bottom 6, but all in all, they're not. I mean, they have said, you know, we were the ones trading Kucherov. They're not. They're re-upping him. Emmerich came on. So before the interview, I told him, I said, you know, I thanked him and because we had texted a little bit, and I said, but for the record, I said my co-host is out sick. I said, but the kid who's filling in went to. I said we both went to Michigan State, a long way apart. I go, but I said you spoke at my league meetings at the ECHL, and you spoke at his communications class. And so he comes on, starting singing into the phone was clicking in and out. I was so pissed, singing the Michigan State fight song. That's how he started the interview. But then he was doing this thing for dogs and adopting dogs that's why he wanted to come on Monday, the Stanley Pup. And so he started with that. And I said, of course, he goes, I want to get that going. I said, Doc, I said, my wife's a veterinarian. You think I can't allow this and so he tells me a quick story that he sends pizza to his vet's office every week on Monday because that's their surgery day. So he starts off with the story, and he says, we did a little thing at the arena here in Port Huron, and of course I played hockey there in high school. I said that'd be McMorran Arena, right? So he's just now he's raring to go. But I laughed. I sent him a text thanking him, and when he brought up Port Huron, I said I was going to go Archie Henderson and Gary Rissling, but I think I'd have lost the audience. Those were the two tough guys back in the day. Rissling played for the Caps. I think Archie might have had a cup of coffee in the NHL as a tough guy. I know he got to the A, but Rissling played for the Caps. Dirty son of a bitch.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the final hour of Miller and Moulton on this Monday. Thanks so much for being with us. It is a real shame, and not just because Miller and Moulton are a couple of sports goobers and we like all sports seemingly more than most of you like all sports. You may have one or two that you like a little more than us, but we love the sports scene. It is a shame that the NHL draft is not a thing, because the league has a horrible year of free agency, a really good draft class shaping up, and for the first time in about 6 years, people have money to spend and no one to spend it on. So they're going to have to be aggressive making trades, because that's really the only way you're going to get your hands on some talent this offseason. I mean, if the NFL, the NBA, I mean, this is honestly, if you're into hockey, this is going to be a 3-day and the first 2-3 weeks of the offseason extravaganza. There's like 3 good players in free agency. There's a whole bunch of people on the trade market. And for most of this half decade that's just passed, the NHL has netted, it's a hard cap. It's the hardest cap of all the sports. And they've had no money to spend. And now the teams have money, like $10, $13 million. Well, I mean, that's 2 players in the NHL. Good players. So it's a real shame, like you mentioned to Dave McCarthy there, your Red Wing. I mean, honestly, I did an hour on vacation with a couple of family members who, they're Lightning fans, they're this fan, they're that fan. Where's he going to go? What do I have to give up to get him? Okay. I got a sleeper team that nobody cares about, so nobody's talking about him. But Mark, the Utah Mammoth, top 5 farm system, 15 plus million to spend. Okay.
Well, that's where I think Austin Matthews should be traded to. I know it would be a bitter irony because he's from Arizona and that it's the Phoenix Coyotes that are now Arizona Coyotes or whatever the hell they were now in Utah, but the fan base jumped all over this. They got good quickly there. All the things you pointed out, and a guy who's from the West Coast of the United States getting the what out of Toronto and going there, I think would be a perfect fit for what it's worth.
And one of his 3 best friends in the world is the captain for the Mammoth. He hangs with him all the time on social media.
So, but David, I want to talk about something that I'm a little more passionate about than hockey. That, of course, is Major League Baseball.
For those 3 seconds, I'm sitting here going, all right, he's setting me up here. But I'm going,
you had no idea where I was going either, did you?
No, I'm going, he's not going to go pickleball, is he? He doesn't have the guts to go pickleball, does he?
Don't do that to me. Don't start. All right. But I do want to, Major League Baseball, I have a question for you. I have a legitimate question right now. What is the biggest surprise? I'll give you 4 choices.
Okay.
The fact that we have 4 teams in the NL Central that are 500 or above. The fact that we have 4 teams in the NL East that are 500 or above. And they've sputtered a little bit lately. But the fact that the Tampa Bay Rays are 14 games above 500, or the fact that the White Sox just took 2 or 3 from the Dodgers and right now are tied, and by a mere 1,000th of a percentage point, are the top team in the American League Central.
Yeah, I think it's the White Sox, and I don't even think it's close amongst those choices. This is staggering. See, this, and I know you hate when I bring this up, but how amazing would it be if Major League Baseball split their season in half?
I'd like to just focus on the reality, but
I know, but this is something that you'd bring up to argue for it, because you do wonder, in what do they have, 100 more games, 90, 95 more games? You do wonder if this will hold up. But what are they, 7 games over 500 in mid-June? I mean, they're on pace to win almost 90 games.
Right, 6 at the moment. Well, I think I thought they split with the Braves because the last game got rained out in that series. They just took 2 or 3 from the Dodgers. I already mentioned last week and today again, they have 12 guys. Now, one's the Japanese player that's on the IL and he's hitting the cover of the ball, but they have 11 other players that have made their major league debuts. Right. We had Ryan Spader on last week on Friday, and I respect the hell out of what he does. He gets nitty gritty into the game. And when I mentioned the White Sox, he thinks their general manager right now might be the best in the game. And what he's done and his ability to draft. I mean, when I mentioned the 12 players, he went on the job that the GM's done. Well, I'd not heard a lot of people say that. So that was new to me. And I don't dig into farm clubs and GM's jobs in baseball. I try to watch as many games as I can, for crying out loud. And that's tough enough. But I figured that would be, say, if I were to tell you to rank them, so the White Sox are first. What's next? The 2 divisions with 4 teams over 500, or the fact the Rays? I mean, think about it. The Rays lost a couple of key hitters. They had a bunch of pitchers coming back from injury that we had no idea how they would be. They're 14 games above 500 in a division with the Red Sox, who we thought were going to be better, the Orioles, who were expected to be better, and the Blue Jays, who seem to get very close to 500 and then lose 3 in a row every damn time.
Oh, and not only that, if we had, dug down a little deeper, if you had told me the Rays were going to be, 17 over 500, but for the first 20 plus games of the year, we're going to give up 5.5 runs a game. I mean, remember, they were like 11 and 10, and we were going, it'd be nice if they could get some pitching. Weren't they supposed to have good pitching this year? When are they going to get some pitching? Then they got about 6 weeks of great pitching.
So they're 5-5 in their last 10. They've sputtered a little bit here lately, and they go to play the Dodgers, coming off of the Dodgers losing 2 or 3. But, if you want to stay up late after the damn World Cup games are over, Rays Dodgers is a pretty entertaining series to start the week. So, we're starting to make that transition, David. The World Cup will give a lot of us sports fans a couple of weeks, especially me, because when there's noon and 1 o'clock live sports, I'm giddy. I'm like a kid in a candy store. I mean, this doesn't get any better for me. But baseball, and it's been hard to get into baseball because you're more of a National League guy. I'm more of an American League guy. You rooted for the Mets. I rooted for the Tigers. So I'm just, you're more familiar with that. Well, the American League has stunk up the joint the first 35, 40% of the season here.
What's it today? 5 today? 5 teams above 500 in the American League this morning.
Yeah, 5. And by the way, the Mariners are just a game above 500, and the Athletics and Rangers are just a game below. But I mean, that's it. After that, if you look at the American League wild card, the Athletics and Rangers are tied for the last spot. The next team is 9 games back of them. 9.
Listen, this organization and this team is talked about a lot, but I don't know how much credit they're ever given. That was a huge weekend series for the Yankees. Okay. Judge is on the IL, and it could be for a while. Max Fried's on the IL. Stanton's a week or so away from coming off the IL,
If
and
so,
then
get a setback
re-hurts
away. Yeah.
and then re-hurts himself. And we all know what that means for Giancarlo Stanton. Hello. So there, no Judge, no Stanton, no Fried. Okay. And they go to Toronto. And these two teams don't like each other, by the way. And they both had no problem saying it throughout the series. And the Yankees took 2 out of 3 from the Jays.
And took the third one by scoring 5 in the 9th to win.
Right. And they're 4-3 right now against the Jays this year. And the Jays were the reason the Yankees didn't go to the World Series. They each finished with 94 wins, and the Yankees couldn't beat the Jays. They could beat anybody else in the American League last year, couldn't beat the Jays. And right now, what are they doing? They're beating the Jays. And they're beating the Jays when they're not 100%. It was a big weekend series north of the border for the Yankees.
You know, the other thing that to me is going on in baseball is this is the year of the young guy. Everybody's called up their young studs. And for the most part, they've all been delivering. These young players are getting called up earlier than ever before. And there are reasons behind that with how the game's now set up. But look damn it, they better get out of their own way here. Because we all know that a work stoppage seems inevitable. And even though they've come to the bargaining table far earlier than we expected them to, they are miles apart. Miles may be putting it in too short of a context. They're states apart. They're interstates apart. I mean, they're a long way. And then you got Mizorowski, the pitcher, who, every pitch is 103 miles an hour and he's just mowing guys down.
Are you taking a look at what he's doing?
Yeah.
I mean, Paul Skeens is watching Mizorowski pitch for the Brewers and going, no, I don't have anything like that. I mean, seriously.
Yeah. So, this could be a very fascinating next month and a half from a trade standpoint as we get to August 1, because if you're an American League team, you think you're still in it because, well, the fact of the matter is with 2 good weeks, you are. And then you have all of these National League teams that are over 500 or better. I mean, we're still looking at 3 in the NL West. I mean, there are 11 National League teams that have a record 500 or better.
Right. 11. And 2 of them are the Marlins and Pirates. Right.
So, I didn't want to take you off of, get you to a sport that you don't like that much. But I did think at some point with your first day back, David, that we needed to talk a little baseball on the program.
Well, I'll make an exception this one time. Now, I think it's a remarkable baseball season. Absolutely remarkable. I love all the organizations, just, whether they've decided to go on the cheap or they've just finally decided to be smart. But you're right, Mark. The young guys are coming through, and it's made the game better.
Go! This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio, with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes alive.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
My life has become so boring that I'm very excited that I bought a meat grinder and I ground my own pork over the weekend. That's what it's come to. Made a bolognese yesterday and grounded the pork for it because ground pork's too expensive. So I bought a meat grinder for $80. I'll get my money back here in a little while. Making sausage later this week. Now I'm trying to figure out how to buy a rack for my smoker so when I smoke sausages, they won't get grill marks on them and I can just have them hanging in the smoker. That's next. I've looked at a few recipes, Javier. I do New York Jets and I've got a membership and I do Costco, but they're even cheaper. So I may start doing, you got to buy so damn much, but no, it's a good call. The only hamburger is still, oh yeah. And that's why you get a metal cleaner, Johnny Fingers Lakes. I only did it once, EB, for my ground pork. Everything I saw when I do sausage, it said do it through a course and then a fine. So I will probably do that. And then it also said to like not freeze the meat, but put it in the freezer, put all your stuff in the freezer, like all the parts to the grinder go in the freezer for about 30 minutes. So everything's really, really cold. I did my research, EB. A pizza oven for your Traeger. Really? Talk to me. So I can just probably Google that and see it. I've thought about buying a pizza oven, but at the end of the day, do I really make enough pizza to warrant a pizza oven? I don't think so. Right, exactly. That's what the research told me. But I just did it through the medium one for my ground pork for my bolognese, and that was fine. But again, I wasn't making sausage. I was just making ground pork, which they charge. It's weird. I don't know if there's because you used to be able to get a chuck roast relatively inexpensively. Now even Costco's charging like $8-9 for a pound for chuck roast. All right, I will, Left Twix. I'm a little intrigued by the smoked pizza oven. I want the outdoor fryer, like your McDonald's dip down French fryer that I've seen with a propane tank for about $150. I've still got my Weber. Had to fix my Lynx gas grill over the weekend. That wasn't cheap. Should see what a sear burner cost for a Lynx gas grill. Had to get a new outdoor fridge for our outdoor kitchen area. It's an expensive weekend outdoors.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Thanks to Keith Smith and Dave McCarthy for joining us, talking a little hoop and a little hockey. They both, along with all our guests, joined us on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Well, David, I'm guessing that with everything that's gone on, that the idea of what used to be a leisurely drive doesn't sound nearly as appealing to you. Well, I don't know how healthy you are to get in the car for 8 hours. I mean, David, you would drive to Tennessee on a whim.
Yes. You got to remember, Mark, I've been stuck indoors with some people who I really could use a break from.
Well, let me give you something to do today then. Obviously, I would think at this point, you and I both have hit our deductible with our medical bills. So it's not like you have to worry about a bill coming up because
that's a good one.
You've already paid it.
That's flipping hysterical.
So you haven't, although you went on a little trip over the weekend, and I'm happy you were able to do your little thing over the weekend with the family. But my guess is that you haven't spent money the last few weeks the way you normally would because, well, you've been in the hospital.
Right.
So if you wanted to, tonight, 6:00 is the first World Cup game in Miami. Would you spend $467 to see Uruguay and Saudi Arabia this early evening?
Absolutely.
That's what the cheapest ticket is as of right now. I think it will go down between now and kickoff.
So let me get this straight. If I lived in the 239 right now, I could probably just, take 5 bills with me and I could drive across the alley.
Well, David, you wouldn't even need the cat. In this world, you could use one of the apps. You've got a credit card. You could just sit there and wait and click a button. Because I don't know. Honestly, I doubt there are a lot of scalpers around. I could be dead wrong. But in today's world with the digital tickets and my fear of getting a counterfeit ticket at this point, I wouldn't even buy a scalper ticket anymore. I wouldn't. Unless I was getting a digital ticket, I'm not interested. I'm too fearful of people scamming me.
I hear you.
But on SeatGeek right now, and SeatGeek tends to be cheaper than StubHub for what it's worth. On SeatGeek right now, you can get a ticket for the game that begins at 6:00 for $467. It's upstairs, but it's about midfield.
Huh. Love it. Yeah. Sure. Absolutely. I think there'll be some atmosphere there.
Oh, absolutely. Because I'm still not allowed to be around big crowds. it's only worked out well because I have made the excuse, even though everybody's gone back home where I live, that I still don't have to go to church with my wife and daughter. Honey, doctor said I can't be around crowds. And
Right.
in fact, David, you will love this because my last doctor's visit, my wife couldn't come with me. She was working. So I drove up myself, and she did get on the phone while we were there, just to hear, and nice to have another voice with all the crap that's going on. And she is a veterinarian after all, so she understands some of this stuff a hell of a lot better than I do. But we were pretty much done. And I hung up the phone with her. And the doc said something about church. And I looked at him. I said, Doc, you told me I didn't have to go. I'm using this as long as is humanly possible. He laughed and laughed and laughed.
I was going to say, Doc, I'm using it through the next Summer Olympiad.
Correct. The one thing, too, by the way, with the World Cup that I have enjoyed the hell out of it. I have watched a ton of World Cup. It was funny. I ran into one of the soccer dads at Costco the opening day, and he's from Bulgaria originally. And he's like, I got to get back home and watch the second half. And I wasn't even thinking about the Mexico game. I wasn't there yet. And I'm like, oh yeah. And I'm like, and I said, yeah, I don't know if the group plays. Yeah, I'm still going to watch every game. And that turned me. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to watch. You know, what was it? The game you watched at 3 a.m, China and
Costa Rica.
Yeah. So I have been all into these games. I have had every single damn game on.
Which, to review, we did a segment late May in which I said, are you in on this? And you went, not at all. I am not in at all. I don't think you said, I don't think the U.S. team is going to amount to anything. And no, I'm not in. So this is coming out of nowhere. I will say, I was ready for the U.S. Friday night. I was ready. I was set. I had my seat. Had a family vacation. You got to commandeer. There's not enough room to go around in the big room for everybody. Had to commandeer my spot. I did. I was all in. And I'm like, I could watch this team play. They're at least fun.
And David, when I ran into Teo at Costco and he said, I'm watching every game, I went, why wouldn't I? I watch curling, for Christ's sake. And I came home and I put it on, and then I watched the 9 o'clock game that night, or 10, some of the early part of the 10 o'clock game. I went to bed, but then I just said, I'm in, and I've been all in. I was, like I said, I was into Ivory Coast scoring late, even though I picked the Netherlands and was pissed at them for allowing Japan to tie it. It was awesome to see Japan tie it late in the game. I watched the entire U.S. game, even texted our old producer, Colin, to see how happy the scarf was because he's a huge soccer aficionado. So I have been in. But, yeah, I mean, I would, if I was allowed to be in crowds, I would go. I literally would probably spend the $500 because I want to see a game, and I can't. And it bums me out.
Okay. Not to, get all crazy here. But is it possible? We've had a few teams emerge, from some distance and either come very close to winning championships or win championships. Would you dare say this is England's year?
No.
Why?
No team with a foreign-born coach has ever won a World Cup. Their coach is not from England. They're out. That was the research I did before the tournament. But I was going to just quickly say, David, the one thing about the World Cup that's bothered me, and I've watched all kinds of matches, I didn't realize that I was watching my daughter's 12U team. What on God's green earth are we doing with water breaks? Enough with this hydration break crap. That's so you can get Powerade on it. Water breaks? What mom brought the snacks? That's what I want to know. Whose mother is responsible for the orange slices during the game? We're taking water breaks? Yep. David, this is perfect. We went through the damn thing in Qatar, whatever the hell the name of that place is, where it was 160 degrees. You know what we didn't have? We didn't have water breaks.
It's exactly what I thought. I went, wait a minute. Why didn't we do this 4 years ago? Everybody, by the way, we didn't do it 4 years ago. I mean, because that would seem to be a natural. It's 115 degrees out. How about halfway through every half, we just stop for 2 minutes and here, have some water.
No, they play for 45 minutes and then they play for a little bit more time and we don't know exactly how much. Now every extra time has 3 minutes added on because guys have to get a sip of water. What the hell is this?
It's a convenient 2.5-minute commercial break too.
Oh.
Fox is loving that.
And then Fox missed live action on the first hydration break.
I know.
Terrible. What's the world coming to? Hydration breaks? It's tough for Clint Eastwood here to not say, get off my lawn when I'm watching hydration breaks.
Get off my pitch. Get off my pitch.
Today was the day when the good, the bad, and the ugly, and what soccer games are today.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Well, shows you how much of the Cutter one. They've had them that long? Are you kidding me? What world is this? They don't have these in soccer. This is not a U12 tournament. This is professional soccer. Hydration breaks. Isn't the point of this damn game that they can play for that long and be that physically fit? What the hell? I'm not watching Susie and Molly take on the Scorpions taking on the Wildcats at San Carlos Park, for crying out loud. It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. All you soccer aficionados, it's awful. What the hell? Come on, let's go here. There we go. You can't, you imagine what these English are saying at some bar watching this crap? They got to be going nuts. And I don't even mean the American ones at the BOP. I'm talking about at some pub in England. They got to be just screaming. It's got to be impacting the games, period. Like, I mean, look at Curacao was never beating Germany, but they score and tie at 1-1, and then it's like, all right, let's take a break. Like, come on. It's certainly giving them an extra 10 minutes, that's for sure. People are not going to be happy with me today because we're not going to have hour 4 up for a while unless they really get to it. Because I got stuff I got to do. Javier, it's slow enough. You should start cooking shows or cooking. You should start a cooking class. Make some extra scratch in the summer. That's, invite people to your country club kitchen. Crack me up. I mean, you don't have enough 60, 70, 80-hour weeks during the season. Why don't you? They do now. They allow 5 now. And the Netherlands, the Dutch coach is getting crucified over his. I'm telling you, if I could link up the serious call with the TV, I would do it. I could. It's just not worth my time. But all the names and soccer play-by-play, you've got the English accent. It's just wonderful.
Hurricane.
I knew that was coming. You didn't. I don't know if you caught someone saying when you said England. Did you see the comment? David, who's the English captain?
Captain.
By the way, David, my starting 5 typed out is 14 pages. Cut and pasted, not typed out. Let's be realistic.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
"22 minutes till we're done for the day." Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Thanks so much for being with us.
Bob Herrig on Wednesday. I don't know what we're doing tomorrow yet, but we'll start getting into the U.S. Open probably tomorrow because obviously we're at a couple of big golf markets. And now that we're on in Connecticut, which is close to where this sucker is going to be held, we've got some U.S. Open fans, I would think, this week. You know, I love this tournament. David does not, but I think you love it here, right? Because they don't have to do anything to this golf course to have a great U.S. Open.
No, they think Shinnecock, along with Oakmont, 3 or 4 other courses in America, that you literally could show up any of the 365 days a year and just play a U.S. Open.
And Shinnecock probably more than Oakmont's just hard. Shinnecock's a great test of golf because of the elements and some of the other reasons that you put wind there, they're not breaking par. They're just not.
Oh, no. That's why Tommy Fleetwood's final round in 2018 is one of the great rounds in the history of the sport. And he finished, second to Koepka by a shot. Had a 6-footer for 62, I think it was, to be tied, and missed it. By the way, Koepka hurt. Had a bail on the Canadian Open, and he was on the leaderboard.
Right, shot 30 on his backside on Thursday. By the way, how about the Wyndham Clark move?
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness.
For those
Okay.
who didn't see it, Wyndham Clark, the 14th, 15th hole, whatever the par 3 is there that they make into a hockey rink. So they all cheer, they go nuts. It's their version of Phoenix.
Right.
And so they have their, they're set up and they do their thing.
Yesterday, the hole played 124 yards.
Right. They want to see if someone can get an ace. I mean, that's their thing. And Wyndham Clark in Canada
Hello.
gets a Jack Hughes jersey. Team USA, beat Canada for the gold medal and knocks one to 4 feet and makes birdie among all the boos. The kicker is, and I don't know if you know this part of the story, David, he thought of it a little late. Tried to order the jersey online and get it overnighted. Couldn't. Sees a fan at the tournament wearing the Jack Hughes jersey. Finds the guy and says, I'll pay you for your jersey. Buys the jersey from him just for the day. Got his address and said he sent it back to him. So he literally went above and beyond just to punk the entire country. That's awesome.
Did more for his popularity in the States than anything he's ever done on the golf course. This is the guy who trashed the Oakmont locker rooms. And, when he won a couple of weeks ago, he said that really did a number on me psychologically. I took a lot of grief. I didn't handle it well. Blah,
Given
blah, blah.
me, I was all over him.
Yep.
All over him. And then, he's had a hell of a year because he's got a super good-looking girlfriend, and he introduced the world to his girlfriend because she caddied for him at the par 3 tournament at the Masters. And he chases that with the Jack Hughes jersey at the Canadian Open, and he makes a 2. Awesome.
Don't you have to put him on the President's Cup team just because? I mean, we don't care about the President's Cup. We don't even pay attention. Most of the guys who are on it would rather have the week off. Put him on the President's Cup team.
I think he's playing well enough. Why not?
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
We start today in 1775. The big fella, GW, George Washington, appointed commander-in-chief of the Continental Army one day after Congress establishes it. That seemed like in retrospect, they made a good choice. 1804, the 12th Amendment is ratified by Congress. That establishes the procedure for electing the president and vice president. Today in 1844, Goodyear patents vulcanized rubber. Great for tires, better for hockey pucks. 1851, one of my heroes that I never knew. Jacob Dussel, a dairyman in Baltimore, sets up the first ice cream factory. Thank you, Jacob. Robert E. Lee's home area in Arlington becomes a military cemetery today in 1864. The world's first moving pictures are captured on camera today in 1878, using 12 cameras, each taking one picture to determine if all 4 of a horse's hooves leave the ground. The Boy Scouts of America, formed in 1916. J. Edgar Hoover assumes leadership of the FBI today in 1924. Then he put on a dress.
I was going to say, any pictures of what he was wearing for the occasion?
The reception was smashing. 1965, Dylan records Like a Rolling Stone. Rolling Stone calls it number 1 in its greatest songs of all time. I don't even think it's his best song. The Dirty Dozen premiered today in 1967. Charles Bronson was in that one, David. I did that for your mom.
She appreciates it. I'll get a text before the show's over.
Let's Get It On, released by Marvin Gaye today in 73. The Book by Woodward and Bernstein, All the President's Men, was published today in 1974. Nicholas sets a scoring record today in 1980 at Baltusrol. 8 under to win his 4th Open. 2 shots ahead of Isao Aoki.
So Weiskopf shoots 7 under in the first round. And Tom hasn't had a round like that in a while. And obviously, he's the focus of all the attention. He's sitting at the podium and he's answering questions and he's beaming. And Tom Weiskopf was not a big, smiley, cheery guy. Okay, he was dour a lot. He's beaming. Mark, while he's still sitting at the podium, Jack comes in and taps in for 63. And Weiskopf is asked to get up and leave the podium because Jack's coming in. And as Weiskopf's walking off the podium, okay, he literally says, the son of a wouldn't even let me have an hour.
Today in 84, Hearns retains his light middleweight title with a second-round knockout of Roberto Duran, the first time in Duran's career that he had been knocked out. 86, Raymond Floyd wins at Shinnecock, his 4th and final major, beating Lanny Watkins and Chip Beck by 2 shots today in 86. That tournament was built for Ray Floyd, by the way. That was his kind of tournament.
He did an expo the day after Jack won the 86 Masters. He did it in northeastern Pennsylvania. I did the live 6 o'clock newscast interviewing Ray Floyd, who was, I think, 44. And obviously we all know how old Jack was. And so the last question I asked him, I go, hey, some 46-year-old guy just won the Masters. I go, how's 44-year-old's game? And he goes, good enough to win the U.S. Open.
Well, he was a confident human.
Yes, he was. Just ask him.
Right, exactly. The Lion King hit theaters today in 1994. Today in 2001, the Lakers go back-to-back, beating the Sixers in 5. Today in 03, the Spurs win their second title in 6. Tim Duncan, your MVP, and beating the Nets. By the way, final score of Game 6 in this exciting era of basketball in 2003, 88-77. 04, Pistons beat the Lakers in a huge upset. 2011, the Bruins and their 39-year-old Stanley Cup drought taking down Vancouver in 7 with a 4-0 shutout in 2011. The Spurs beat the Heat today in 5 in 2014 to win the title.
LeBron's last game with the Heat.
The Blackhawks take down the Lightning in 6 today in 2015. And a year ago, J.J. Spawn from Philadelphia made the putt at Oakmont, the 64-foot birdie putt to win his first major. He'd win by 2.
I was going to say the tournament was near Philly. The putt started out in Scranton.
Sam Giancana, the Chicago mobster, and the great Waylon Jennings would have celebrated birthdays today. Mike Holmgren, 78. Dusty Baker, 77. David, I ask you, they both won championships. One game to coach their respective sports. Would you go Dusty or Holmgren?
Dusty.
I thought you would. James Belushi is 72. This one's for me and a few Detroiters out there. Lance Parrish is 70. He is a great catcher. Wade Boggs, 68. Actress Helen Hunt, 63. Courtney Cox is 62. Today was a good day because Ice Cube was born. He's 57. Andy Pettit, Justin Leonard, and Tony Clark are all 54. Neil Patrick Harris is 53. Tim Lincecum is 42. Mo Salah, 34. And Cooper Kupp's 33. What did I miss, David?
Well, now I'm reminiscing about what a big deal Lance Parrish signing by the Phillies was. Okay, I remember covering the Phillies at those times. You know, they had the ammunition, Mark, to give the Mets a run. No, but that was their reasoning behind signing Lance Parrish.
time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
I got to admit, I love every part of Today Was a Day When with David, because it was a little long or a little tough doing it with Trent, who had no idea what I was talking about for most of these things. But my favorite part with Trent is when I do the birthdays and see if he knows who the hell any of these people are. For the good, we go to England, where the Serenity Farne Island boat tours were able to pick up a dog that had blown out to sea on a kayak. Don't know why a person wasn't on the kayak, but a German Shepherd was, and the tour boat rescued the dog. For the bad, if I can get this thing to work right, there we go. We go to Vermont, where Andrew Hayward is a first responder. He's a volunteer firefighter, and he was racing out to an incident. Well, he got arrested because he crashed into another car. And finally, the ugly, we come back to Florida, where Connor Parody of San Antonio was on I-75 doing 90 miles an hour. When he was pulled over, the officer thought he was heavily intoxicated, and was proven true because there was 34 open cans of White Claw in his vehicle. He blew a .17 and headed to the Pasco County Jail. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, June the 15th, brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department, hiring new officers, offering great pay, bonuses, and overtime opportunities, plus other jobs available. CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com.
Soccer. Big Fox this afternoon, noon and 3. At noon is Spain and Cape Verde. At 3 is Belgium and Egypt. 6 and 9 are FS1. Saudi Arabia, Uruguay on FS1 at 6. Iran and New Zealand at 9. 10 baseball games today. Do the Marlins get over 500? They're in Philadelphia to start a series with the Phillies.
Wheeler on the bump for the Phillies. It'll be a tough one.
The Rays in LA on ESPN tonight. Boog Shambi with the call, 10 o'clock, Rays Dodgers. 2 of 10 games tonight.
By the way, the Marlins and Phillies, because the Rays Dodgers is the best series going on tonight. It's either the Marlins and the Phillies or the Pods and the Cardinals for the best games today, for the next best game. The hell's going on?
Hey, Cardinals and Pods are 2 of the 3 National League wild cards.
I know. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. David, welcome back. I missed you. I'm glad you're here. We all know the reasons why now. I'm glad you were able to tell it because people have been asking. Happy to have you back. Glad you got through it. Now go get some rest, damn it.
Harry Kane. Harry Kane. Harry Kane.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
No! This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio, with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes
Mark
alive.
Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.